There will be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Thank you. Please take your seats. Order. Members, I have been informed by the whippery that they have agreed that there will be no notices of motions or motions without notice. I would also like to take the opportunity to welcome the Honorable Minister, the ministers, MECs, and special delegates to the House. The Secretary will read the first order. I am informed that we've got the leaders of South Africa of tomorrow sitting up there. These are the children from Cedar House, the prep school, primary school in Kenilworth. You're welcome, my children.
Policy debate on budget policy debate on budget vote number 5, Home Affairs Appropriation Bill, B5 of 2017.
Thank you very much. Wish to welcome the Honorable, the Minister of Home Affairs, Mayor Mkhize.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers, Honorable Chairperson of the Selection Committee on Social Service, Honorable Members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Chairperson, indeed I'm honored to present the budget vote of the Department of Home Affairs for 2017-2018. Briefly, Honorable Chairperson, it is fitting that we have dedicated the budget vote to a radical, visionary, and resilient servant of the people of South Africa, Ntate Oliver Reginald Tambo. He was an outstanding internationalist and humanist of great courage, strength, and integrity. He showed us that if you live by correct values, you can mobilize others and overcome huge difficulties. He freely moved in and out of different countries, small and big cities, but was never stopped because of his compliance with the laws and was never doubted or seen as a security risk. As he said, we cannot but assert the dignity of all men and women across the oceans.
Minister, please pull the mic towards you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. As he said, we cannot but assert the dignity of all men and women across the oceans on all the continents permanently and unequivocally. Chairperson, it is fitting as the Department of Home Affairs to make reference to today's special day, World Refugee Day. Refugees are our people who have gone through a lot of suffering from their countries. In most instances, exposed to gross human rights violations, having witnessed all sorts of atrocities. The only honor we can give them is to ensure that in our communities and in our midst, we introduce them to our networks and we show them our values of Ubuntu so that the experience of being in our countries is pleasurable. Honorable Chairperson, I need to reflect briefly on what we have achieved. Last year, there were commitments made to this August Council by my predecessor. You voted the department a total of 8.1 billion for operations and projects. One of the things that we achieved, we replaced over 2.6 million barcoded ID books with secured smart ID cards over 5 years. We hope to strengthen our partnership. We achieve this through partnerships with our banks. We invite citizens, especially the youth and first-time applicants who are in matric, to apply online or at their nearest Home Affairs offices for smart ID cards and passport. Home Affairs has offices in all provinces, including the 14 bank branches where smart ID cards may be accessed conveniently. We continue to look for public-private partnerships to improve not only our electronic infrastructure, but also our office building. We also committed, honorable members, to upgrade 6 of the largest land ports of entry. I'm not going to mention them, honorable members. Another major achievement was that the Border Management Authority bill was completed after extensive engagements with government, NEDLEC, and broader society. We are at the point where the bill will be looked at by this honorable House. The historical injustice renders fundamental the Department of Home Affairs' mandate to secure and confirm our identity and citizenship. Securing identity and status of every citizen constitutes an important pillar of the noble struggle for socio-economic transformation. This task speaks also to the restoration of dignity of each citizen without regard to race, gender, or class, in line with the 1994 Constitution. Honorable members, we have the National Development Plan Vision 2030. The department directly contributes to economic restructuring, growth, and jobs creation. Appropriately, we have set strategic targets against an annual performance plan and realistic budget. We trust the target for 2017-18 will contribute to achieving our strategic objectives aligned to national priorities. For this budget vote, the total allocated is 7.1 billion, of which 1.2 will be transferred to the IEC and 141 million to the represented political parties fund. There are a few strategic projects which have been started that will continue with building a new Home Affairs. The department's key strategic areas are those of civic and immigration services. We're making inroads on the modernization program. Much has been done to improve the Department of Home Affairs as an organization, to modernize its system, to combat corruption, and to deliver better services, but a lot more still needs to be done. And for this, we have a total allocation of 519 million earmarked for the modernization program. We firmly believe that the movement of Home Affairs into the security cluster will enable the department to deliver against its full mandate. As a discussion paper on the repositioning of Home Affairs based on the business case was published in the Government Gazette on the 19th of May this year. Substantive comments can be submitted until 30 September 2017. We'll engage stakeholders, including all our provinces. We look forward to contributions from honorable members. Honorable member, going forward, we have a responsibility to consolidate and finalize the design of a national identity system that will replace the National Population Register, which dates back to 1980. Honorable members, you are all familiar with the challenges we have. The past is still with us, where too many people are in the country undocumented or illegally documented. The use of technology, the digitization of record, is a concrete step that the department has taken to ensure that we use technology to capture live captures of offices across the country. The digitization of records is also important in the sense that it's not easy for people to erase what has been technologically secured. And some of the concrete steps are likely to be achieved when we get improved funding for this purpose. We all know the cost of broadband rollout for any developing country. It's unimaginable. But we are committed, with the help of Treasury, to using earmarked 10 million per annum received from Treasury to ensure that we continue on the journey of digitizing our offices and our work. We have a good example from last year of the world-class Desmond Tutu Refugee Reception Center launched by President Zuma, which really talks to what a modern center can do, treating people with respect and dignity and efficiently. The registration of births, marriages, and deaths is an important function as part of dignifying our citizens. Work on civic services is voted 2.4 billion. National study on challenges in early birth registration is also an important project for the department, which we are embarking upon in partnership with the Department of Monitoring and Evaluation. We have to ask ourselves a question: why are South Africans not keen to register young people on time? Is it a poor understanding of the importance of secured citizenship? And so we are not gonna guess that one, but the study will teach us exactly how we should intervene. One assumes the rural areas will be our vulnerable spots where we must have strategic interventions for them. Honorable members, we have in this financial year put aside 1.2 billion for immigration services. The turnaround standard set last year of 85% of permits delivered within 8 months will be maintained. The target for adjudication, temporary residence, visas increased to 90% within 8 weeks for business and general work visas. We commit to improve the target for critical skill visas by 5 to 80% adjudicated within 4 weeks. Honorable members, the Border Management Authority is a critical element of ensuring that we begin to process very carefully the immigrants to the country in line with our immigration policy and also our refugee laws. International migration policy, honorable members, is a big issue for the Department of Home Affairs. We are at the point where we are having discussions with critical stakeholders on what has been approved so far by Cabinet. And generally, we are all familiar with the challenges of immigration in other parts of the world. So in a corner where we are, we do believe our values will determine how we process those who desire to be part of us legally. The policy development process will result in a comprehensive overhaul of immigration and refugee legislation. The Refugees Amendment Bill seeks to improve and operational efficiencies at both the refugees reception offices and the two statutory bodies, namely the Standing Committee for Refugees and Refugees Appeal Board. The Immigration Amended Act of 2016, assented to and signed by the President on the 27th of 2016, empowers us to provide for adequate sanction for foreigners who overstay beyond the expiry date of their visas. These policies and legislative interventions will advance our priority to resolve the abuse of the asylum system. Another major challenge or commitment we can make is to really uproot systematic corruption in our systems and issuing of our documents. We're intensifying our all-out fight against corruption in all its manifestations. IDs, passports, and birth certificates have high value, and the Department of Home Affairs is under constant attack by local and international criminal syndicates. Cybercrime is also on the rise. This work is being done under the Operation Visa Masina, meaning cleaning the rot, which was launched in 2015. We have clear communication to our officials not to be party to any corrupt practices, as that will undermine the repositioning of a Home Affairs responsible for management of a national identity system which is credible and not corrupted by interferences that have unintended consequences. We have one state entity that I want to refer to under us, government printing works, which will be focusing upon to really show honorable members its worth. First of all, it's a highly efficient, self-funded organization producing our new secure passport and smart ID cards. This GPW is positioning itself as a highly secure printer for official documents, and we're looking at the neighboring countries to benefit from such an efficiency, as there has been a tendency whereby our neighbors within SADC will look at Europe for printing critical documents, and that didn't really help us to separate links with our colonizers. So we're happy that we'll be pushing through the GPW state-owned company bill, which will be tabled this year, and the security printers bill as a subsequent to that. And here clearly there are rare expertise which will benefit our youth, but also position this country to be recognized as a major contributor to this new area of work. We are committed in contributing substantially, even on social issues that affect our society today, like issues of gender-based violence and abuse, including human trafficking, abductions, and marriages of convenience. In partnership with non-governmental organizations, faith-based organizations, traditional leadership, business, organized labor, UN-based organization, and broader society, we do believe the department is being repositioned in being presented as part of the security cluster. In conclusion, I thank my predecessor, Minister Gegaba, Deputy Minister Chohan, DG Mkuseli Aplen, and officials in our midst for substantial progress made against the 2016-17 budget and plan. We are indebted to this select committee on social services led by Honorable Dlamini for guidance and support at all times. The NCOP has shown a clear understanding of the fact that Home Affairs is a strategic resource for enabling the empowerment of citizens, the inclusive socio-economic development of our economy, and for attaining efficient and accountable government. It is these noble commitments that spurred us on this year to adopt as the theme for the budget debate, secure and efficient service to the people, but to people, putting people first. Thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you, ma'am. The Honorable Dlamini. The clock will be adjusted.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. My greetings to you, the Honorable Minister, Honorable members, special delegates. Chair, I want to take this opportunity to say as a committee, we support the budget vote of the Department of Home Affairs. I will state the reasons why we are supporting the budget vote. The Department of Home Affairs, its core mandate is to secure and confirm our identity and citizenship, securing the identity and status of every citizen as part of the journey towards socio-economic transformation and restoration and dignity of our citizens. Chair, I'm not sure whether all of us will have the same understanding of the importance of this department. I'm saying that, Chair, because it's not only about giving birth certificates, ID documents, passports, and the rest. But the impact of a person who does not have an identification document, that person is declared as a stateless person. We've gone around as a committee doing our oversight. We've learned that there are children at school, in schools that do not have identification document, and some of them are refused to continue with their studies because they don't have their identification document. We saw that in the Eastern Cape, a number of them, Honorable Minister, Alfred Nzo, district, if I may be specific, during the taking parliament to the people, a number of children there do not have a birth certificate because their parents do not have ID document. We've been to Pumalanga, Nkomazi, also Kamhlushwa Primary School. It came up very strong. It was a hot issue because that area is bordering Swaziland and Mozambique. A number of them do not have identification documents. So what we are saying, it should not be seen as people who don't have identification document, but they are declared as stateless people. They don't have a state because they cannot be recognized of a nation of any country because they don't have identification document. Honorable Chair, South Africa has pledged to accede to a convention of the reduction of statelessness. The country expressed its commitment to rectify outstanding instrument in the area of human rights and international humanitarian laws. We therefore say to the department, we appreciate the work that you are doing to check why people don't register their children early, but look at the people, a number of people who are declared as stateless people in South Africa. How many are they? Because we signed that convention. Honorable Chair, Home Affairs is one of the departments that, as a committee, we have witnessed continuous improvement in their operations without underscoring the challenges that are still there. But we must say that it has been improving year in, year out. We really appreciate that. That is why we feel that it is important for us to support their budget because it will make the lives of our people better. It is also plausible to note that in 2016, the Cabinet decided to integrate Home Affairs into the security cluster and thus pave a way towards the pursuit of this new vision that will see the department realigned and repositioned within the South African security cluster. The location of the Department of Home Affairs within the security cluster in March 2016, it is a good step forward, operating in a highly secure environment to ensure that the nation is safe and secure. We appreciate that the Cabinet has taken that decision. In line with the National Development Plan and the Cabinet's key outcomes, Home Affairs offers 4 critical contributions to the national development. The first one is enabling economic development. For us to ensure that there is development, we must know how many people are here in the country, and also to contribute to the national security, enabling effective service delivery, and supporting governance and administration. Over the years, the Department of Home Affairs has made great strides in the registration of birth, marriages, and deaths. The key target for the Department of Home Affairs for this year is to register 750,000 births within 30 days as legally required. This represents 74% of estimated birth, and anything, what we are saying there, Honorable Minister, you can't target 74%. We expect you to target 100%. If you fail, you fail, but you can't plan to fail. We expect you to plan for 100%. However, compliance remains a challenge within the registration of births within 30 days. In order to address this, the Department of Home Affairs, as the Minister was indicating earlier, is working with Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, and Department of Health. Together, these departments are conducting a study to look at the causes and also propose solutions for late registration. We really appreciate that, because you will be now guided by the research outcomes instead of thumb sucking. Birth registration is significant because it is about identity, which is central to restoring dignity of people, regardless of gender, race, or class. Solving identity dynamics serves to open resources, social services, and doors of learning for those previously marginalized. Registering of children, giving them an identity from birth, it opens avenues to a whole range of critical services which dignifies their lives. If children are not having the birth certificate, as I was indicating earlier, they are deprived of services, especially the grants that the government is giving. So we are saying all children must be registered and have identification documents. In order to address this, the late registration of birth, it is proposed that the department should intensify information campaigns, stakeholders' engagement, and the provision of Home Affairs services at health facilities nationwide, most of which print full birth certificate at birth. Before they leave the health facilities, they have their birth certificates. We are saying that program should be fast-tracked and have more health facilities having Home Affairs offices. Despite the limited fund to Department of Home Affairs, the Smart ID card and new passport have transitioned to using fully digital application processes at 178 offices and at 12 branches of the 4 major banks. We really appreciate that, Honorable Minister. But having said that, we are saying all those services should not be limited to the cities and towns. We are saying our people in rural areas deserve those services. The Department of Home Affairs has a responsibility to fight corruption. Fraud is real and it should be fought by all means necessary. The department is fighting fraud, according to their report, through its modernization program. This program is meant to reduce fraud and cost of doing business by enabling e-government and facilitate more investment to grow the economy. The Marabastad office, Honorable Chair, I was there myself when it was launched. The issue of corruption, I think, is the thing of the past. If we can transform all Home Affairs offices to the standard of it is called now Desmond Tutu Refugee Center, we will say we have done it as a country. There are legally chances of corruption there. On the challenges around the late registration, the Department of Home Affairs should conduct more outreach programs such as posters at health facilities and other centers of government. Chair, we have witnessed violence against foreign nationals in South Africa, South African township. Issues of international migration are very dynamic, and there is an urgent need for social integration and coexistence among South Africans and foreign nationals in communities that needs to be facilitated by the department as part of social cohesion. We have had queries regarding children barred from schools, as I was saying earlier, and struggling to benefit from social security programs due to lack of required and enabling documents. Educators had raised challenges about the likelihood of children not completing their senior certificate because they do not have an identification document. We're also told that with the cut of budget, Honorable Chair, during the briefing of the department, we were told that there has been a cut or reduction of the budget in terms of human resource. It has affected the department immensely in such a way that some offices in ports of entry, they have offices, furniture, but there is no personnel to man those offices. We're therefore saying the National Treasury should consider that this department is not only about IDs and passports, it's far much bigger than that. But more importantly, Chair, what we're saying that these offices of Home Affairs should not, the modernization and everything, should not end in cities. We expect the department to build, not to rent, offices of Home Affairs in rural areas so that our people, all of them, regardless of where they stay, they receive services like anyone else in town. With that, Chairperson, we as a committee support the budget vote of the department. I thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The Honorable Hatton.
Honourable Chair, this department must certainly be given credit for some of the good work that has been done in the past years. The rollout of 6 million smart ID cards in only 4 years and the quick turnaround times with passport applications are testimony of significant and impressive achievements by the department. Most people have forgotten that it used to take several weeks to get a passport. It is now possible that you could receive it in 1 week, and even in emergency cases within 48 hours. If we want to address the obviously there is no room for complacency, with much more to be achieved from the department to increase its role in the growth of our economy. If we want to address the crisis of more than 9 million unemployed South Africans, then the Department of Home Affairs must inter alia simplify our visa regime to attract foreign investment so that it is easier for companies to set up shop here, and obviously which will lead to job creation. The long queues at Home Affairs remain a massive problem for people who are unable to spend an entire day away from work just to apply for an identification document. We recognize that hundreds of Home Affairs officials work tirelessly to keep this department operational, but that so much more could be done with the support and improve this delivery of services to the people of our country. The past week focused on officials who protested about having to work on Saturday to provide essential service to the public is an example, and we don't see this commitment in many other departments. We need a system where everyone contributes, and one that treats people with respect, dignity, fairness, and within the boundaries of our constitution and legislation. In that context, Section 5(1) of the South African Citizen Act of 1995 states that the Minister of Home Affairs may grant South African citizenship to any foreigner who satisfies the Minister, amongst other things, that he or she is a permanent resident who has lived in South Africa continuously for at least 5 years, he or she is of good character, and he or she is a citizen of a country that allows dual citizenship, and if not, that he or she has renounced citizenship of the country of origin. Now the question obviously arises, would the Honourable Minister regard persons who have been proven to be racist by demanding that their guests, for instance, at an event should be served by people of a specific race group only, as of good character? Same, would the Minister regard people who have abused their power to compromise a national key point as of good character? A person who have offered ANC MPs jobs as Minister, would they qualify as being of good character? I think the Minister would agree. The answer is an unequivocal no. Yet, we have a situation which not only casts a cloud over the credibility of the former Minister who took the decision to grant citizenship to the Gupta family, but also over the department and its officials. It was reported that the new minister stated that she would do exactly the same. Now, procedures outlined in the Act, which would have allowed the minister to make an informed decision about whether the Guptas were of good character or not, were simply flouted. They could have been interrogated and asked, why do you only want white people to serve you at Sun City, you and your guests? It was flouted. Secondly, India is not a country that allows for dual citizenship. You wouldn't have qualified, Honourable, to serve the Guptas at Sun City. You don't qualify, you are not of the correct race, according to them. Which means that India is not a country that allows for dual citizenship, which means that the Guptas could only validly become South African citizens if they renounce their Indian citizenship. Now, did the Guptas provide the minister with the evidence to prove that they are renouncing the Indian citizenship? No, they have not done so. Thirdly, Section 5(8) of the Act states that if the minister has refused to grant the citizenship, applicants must wait another year before they can reapply. Was this done? No. No provision is made for an appeal of the decision. In this case, the application was declined on the 22nd of January 2015, yet the minister reconsidered the application and granted citizenships to the Guptas on 30th of May, the same year, a few months later. Another question is whether the minister complied with Section 5(9)(b) of the Act, which requires the minister to, within 14 days after the commencement of the sittings of Parliament in each year, to table in Parliament the names of the persons granted citizenship because of exceptional circumstances, and must include the reasons for early granting of citizenship. If the minister did not comply, then the decision to grant that citizenship would also obviously be invalid. So the preferential treatment of the Gupta family by unlawfully granting them South African citizenship played a crucial role in the reported looting of the state-owned enterprises and state-owned companies. The role of the minister, whether the minister was a direct or indirect beneficiary, we would not know until it's also leaked by the Gupta leaks, should not be underestimated. It will take years to undo the damage caused to the image and credibility of the department, but this fades into insignificance if compared to the damage done to South Africa and specifically towards our impoverished citizens. It is clear that the ANC government cannot self-correct, and therefore it will be incumbent for the new 2019 government to repair this and similar damage in the soon-to-come post-ANC era. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. The Honourable Mukweli.
For the 6 seconds, Mama ke kopa time we bankanya.
Correct the time.
This department has been limping from one disaster to another and is one of those who have been fully captured by the Gupta family. A capture facilitated and aided by Mr. Gigaba while still a minister. We know that Gigaba used his power as a minister to illegally naturalize the Gupta family, even against the advice of the technocrats in his department. He has gone on to the treasury to do their bidding as well. What is not certain is how the new minister is planning to reorient the department so it does effectively what it ought to be doing, which is service delivery to our people. The department remains untransformed.
Honourable Mukweli, please take your seat. Honourable Khai, you are on your feet.
I just want to check, Honourable Chairperson, if it's parliamentary to cast aspersion on the minister. The member says that he has been sent to the treasury to serve the Guptas. That to me is casting aspersion, and therefore the member is supposed to bring a substantive motion to the House on this particular issue. Thank you.
I am going to take advice on this one. In the meantime, please proceed, Honorable
The
Mukwili.
point of debate. The department remains untransformed in terms of service delivery. People in deep rural areas and in townships such as Inanda, Madikwe, Pisidi, Sulechang, Munzana, and other remote areas have no immediate access to Home Affairs offices, which impound on their rights to birth registration, ID application, and all other essential services people ought to be getting from Home Affairs. A clear indication of the short-sighted with which this department has been led in the attempt by the previous minister to create parallel revenue collection unit within the Department of Home Affairs through the Border Management Bill that is yet to be passed by Parliament. Malusi, Zuma, and the Guptas became aware that SARS was collecting almost 300 billion through customs, and they wanted to control that revenue stream to the country. They resolved to create a parallel entity that would take away that
Honorable Mukwili.
responsibility from
Honorable
SARS.
Mukwili, please take your seat. Honorable Khai,
Are you mandated to?
please take your seat.
Honorable
Honorable
Chair,
Khai.
is it parliamentary for a member to call another member with a wrong name, Malusi Zuma? Is there such a person? Chairperson, there are people that are harassing me, saying that
You are protected. The member is on the floor. Please give the respect. Honorable Mukwili, please take your seat. Honorable Khai.
I just want to quote on the rules, Chair, because members will continue to say when we raise a member who's in another house that the member is not a member of this house. In terms of the application of the rules to non-members participants, it says except where clearly inappropriate. These rules apply to a cabinet member, a deputy minister, a local government representative, or an official in the national or provincial executive participating in the business proceeding of the council in terms of section 66 or 67. So if a cabinet minister, in terms of the rule, in terms of the definition, a cabinet minister is also protected because these rules apply to a cabinet minister as well.
The rules do apply to a cabinet minister. Honorable members, you have, however, as this House, please take your seat, ma'am. You have, however, in the past referred to members of cabinet who were not in the House. Let this then be the lesson that the rules will apply to members who are present in the House. It is a rule which I think as we go through, we might want to revisit, however, because it means if a rule like that is strictly adhered to, even the good things about a minister or a deputy minister who is not in the House at a particular time, we might not refer to. So it is a rule that I would suggest that we do. I do, however, want to say that Honorable Mukwili, earlier on you referred to a minister who was sent to do certain things at Treasury. We do not have any proof. We do not know. You are speculating. You do not know. It would be better, ma'am, to not refer to things you cannot prove in this House before you can bring a substantive motion on the matter. It would also be good to refer to Minister Gigaba as Minister Gigaba.
Mr. Gigaba. Unfortunately for the new minister who have inherited this mess, and until you demonstrate to us that you will be prepared to be led by principle and commit yourself to uphold the Constitution, we shall treat you with doubt as well. Secondly, year after year, there has been a growing condemnation of how this department handles immigration services. This department, through its mistreatment of fellow African citizens, has been at the center of driving anti-African xenophobic perceptions. The Marabastad Refugee Reception Office, now renamed as Tutu Reception Center in Pretoria, for example, has been described as a facility managed by an oiled system of corrupt individuals. It is not the only one. Many centers established to help with immigration processes have been converted in haven for criminal syndicates who extort money from our African siblings who are here to look for survival opportunities. The downside of this is that thousands of low-skilled people find it easy to enter the country and outcompete local, either in an informal sector or in other low-paying jobs, while making it difficult for high-skilled individuals to enter the country and contribute to the development of our economy. Immigration of skilled people is ordinarily difficult, and despite government claims that scarce skills are welcome, in practice, this has seldom been true. But corruption permeates across the department, and it is an untransformed department too. Thirdly, the Department of Home Affairs sits with millions of fingerprints of all of us. It is incomprehensibly that to this date, this department and the South African Police Service have no working relationship to ensure that the criminals are easily apprehended. It would not take rocket science for Home Affairs to share their fingerprint database with SAPS to secure our nation from raving criminals. In light of the fact we have highlighted, a budget of just 7 billion is not nearly sufficient to effect the necessary transformation within the department. Jaaka re le EFF modula setilo ga re ikamanye ka gope le tekanyetso kabo e tlhagisitsweng ke lefapha la merero ya selegae. Ke rata gape go tlhagisa se mo ntlong gore department is failing to plan, and whilst failing to plan, they just build offices in remote areas with no personnel. So I'm appealing to you, Minister, please make sure that you plan both for the personnel and for infrastructure. Don't just build for the sake of building. I thank you. We reject this budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. The Honorable Kaula.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister. Like it has already been reported, the IFP notes with concern the reduction of services forced to the department by the budget cuts. We note that the department will not be filling 687 vacant posts due to financial constraints. This indeed has a significant negative impact to the services offered by the department. The department has, amongst others, the responsibility of providing crucial documentation such as records of birth and death certificates, marriage certificates, identity documents, regulate and confirm the status and identity of foreigners, regulate immigration, and other important functions. It is a pity that after 23 years of our democracy, the offices where these services are obtained are still largely located in urban centers. Accessibility to these services for rural people and township people still cost them money to locate. Therefore, for the rural and township people, very little has changed with the location of Home Affairs in order to make them feel that Home Affairs is also theirs. Yet, the important documents required for grants, banking services, and other activities must be obtained from there. It is some kind of an irony that those who do not have money must pay to get these services, yet those who can afford still pay little or nothing to access these services because offices are located closer to them. Honorable Minister, the Department of Home Affairs has not yet succeeded to deal with fraud and corruption efficiently within its family. People still get inside the country through bribes. Important materials still go in and out of our country fraudulently. I have mentioned before that I do not see the establishment of BMA successfully eradicating these practices. This is because the very same officials who are involved in these practices, of course not all of them, they will be the ones who will be absorbed by the BMA when it gets established. The Honorable Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi usually warns that, and I quote, "Giving the problem a new name does not help solve the problem," close quote. This is what this department seems to be doing. The controlling of the influx of people getting into South Africa has remained very poor and cause for concern. There are communities around the borders of South Africa in areas like the border between South Africa and Swaziland, South Africa and Mozambique, South Africa and Zimbabwe, South Africa and Botswana, South Africa and Lesotho, who possess the citizenship of both South Africa and their home countries. We have recently had a by-election in Opongole in KZN. People were coming from Swaziland to come and vote in South Africa. They could not be stopped because they have South African identity documents. They are registered to vote in South Africa by the IEC. This is a huge concern, Honorable Minister. The issues of social cohesion for those foreign nationals who have settled in South Africa remain another challenge. We occasionally experience activities of clashes between South Africans and the foreign nationals. Some of these clashes result in loss of lives. Shops, especially belonging to foreign nationals, get looted and burnt or damaged. These are challenges that must be addressed. It is why we all got concerned when a social cohesion conference that was supposed to be held in Durban got postponed. One has a feeling that the real reason why the conference was postponed was because Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi was going to give the official opening address. For as long as social cohesion is still politicized in this manner, it will not get the real and genuine attention that it deserves. South Africa does not have just one political party. We have political parties. South Africa does not have just one political leader. We have political leaders. The IFP always raised a concern that the IEC must always rein in on the party political use of government funds to benefit those in power during elections. We have also repeatedly raised the concern that for as long as the IEC utilizes the services of SATU to run elections, those elections are not free and fair. SATU is an alliance of COSATU. COSATU is an alliance of the ANC. The ANC is the ruling party. This makes the ANC a referee and a player in our elections. South Africa has an abundance of unemployed youth, amongst them unemployed graduates. Why not utilize their services during elections? I thank you, Chair.
Siyabonga, Dad. The Honorable Mampuru.
Modulasetulo ke a go leboga ka gore ditaba ke tše ntšhi a ke thomo ka go botša ministera gore aowa re a ithekga budgete ya gagwe tšwele pele bereke badudi ba South Africa ke dumela gore ba botše ditsebe ba ntšheditše se ba swantse go tseba kore 1994 has defeated many social ills ba se ke ba ba tshwenyega re a qhoba re tšwela pele African National Congress ke mokgatlo e le gore o tseba seo se nyakago ka gore o tseba seo se dirago the presence of uncounted,
Honorable
undocumented.
Mampuru, please take your seat. Honorable Mkwili, you are on your feet.
On a point of order, Chair.
Yes, ma'am, what's your point of order?
Sibui se sibuang fa se mislead the country. It's not true that ANC knows what it's doing. It's just fumbling and wumbling all over.
Honorable Mukwili, that's not a point of order. Honorable Mampuru, please continue.
Ya go leboga modulasetulo a gona motse o hloka go baga ditšong nna ke a thaba South Africa ke gona ga e matlafala ka ena mokgono ka re ge re ka ba mmušo eteletše go ba ANC ra hloka baga ditšo gore ka se ka ra ba ra phagama le ya re phagamiša le dira mmereko mo botse the presence of undocumented migrants in the republic poses both an economic and security threat to the country. There is empirical evidence that the majority of asylum seekers also do not qualify for refugee status and protection. The gross departmental responsibility and competencies for border management create duplication of tasks, weak data collection and protection. There are challenges relating to legislation regulating access to citizenship by foreign nationals. Se se boletše ke African National Congress kwa Mangaung ka 1912. Therefore, there is a need to balance the inward flow of low-skilled labor to curtail the negative impact it has on domestic employment. Ya resolver tše e di bone ya fetša ya re, amongst others, that the Department of Home Affairs should take the lead in the Border Management Agency as a department which is faced with immigration issues. That's what the minister Freedom Charter ere, South Africa belongs to those who live in it, black and white. Mara se a se re gore batho ba santse ba dire ka mokgwa ba ratang gore ba le ka mo South Africa. Ba fo jumpa defense ba tshele magora ba re aowa go lokile re ya ka South Africa re dula ka nse ka mo re nyaka di-documents tse di swanetšego. Ge re tla go di-policy directives, they are achieved by issuing the following types of documents: the visa, temporary resident permits, you name them, business permits, work permits, corporate permits, study permits, exchange permits, etc. Permanent resident permits, refugee and asylum papers. Re tlo di achieve the policy tša rena, minister, ge re ka tšwela pele ra hlokomela dilo tšeo. A ke tloge modulasetulo ke bontšhe gore maloba le maabane re sepeletše kwa thukwela ya Bedbridge re le ka mo Limpopo re dira oversight re le committee ya social services. Ga go kgatliše selo ministera ditlhotlo tše re di hweditšego kwa ke tše di latelago. Sephodisa sela re se beilego kwa molongwaneng kwa kgorong ya go ya ka Zimbabwe go na di challenges ga bana ditulo tše ba ka di dulelago tšona dikoloi tšona tšela re ba fileng tšona di fišwa ke letšatši ga bana di cooler box mo ile gore ba ka kgona go tšhela metsi gore ka gore go a fiša ka thokwela ba kgone go itlhokomela gape ditlhotlo ke gore bašomi ba rena ba Home Affairs ba lile ka taba ya go hloka uniform ya go mešomong ra bontšha gape le rena re le komiti gore go sa tlhokega tleliniki gana mola kgauswi ka baka la gore go ya kwa Pijana kwa ke kgole kwa Mosina gore batho ba rena ba kgone go thušega ge le ka dira gore le kopane le ba Department of Health gore go be le tleliniki gana moo gore ka gore batho ba rena ba sela gana kwa re na le di-hawkers ge ba ka ba le mabofokodinyana a ile gore ke a sa gateleleng ka kudu ba kgone go humana thušo go na le batho ba bitswago ka gumagumas or impisi batho ba ke ba leng kwa di-bordereng ba tswa ka kwa go la Zimbabwe ke bao ba thušago badudi ba ka kwa Zimbabwe go tsena ka mono South Africa ge no ka e tletše ka re yona ke natural measure ya go khapa gore ba se ba kgona go tsena ka mono go ba petrenyana mara ge metsi ge a sakile ba ba tshediša defense tša rena le go magora rena ba thaotše ga go sa kgona go selo batho ba huhumela ka mofase gomme khukhumelo ya bona gape e tswala taba ya gore ba kgone go ba hula tšeo ba di swerego tšona dipilara tšela re di beilego mola godimo ba di thobotše ba di kgerotše ba kgona go huhumela ka tšona ba tsena ba tla ka mono yeo re kgopela gore kgoro ye e kgomagane le tše dingwe dikgoro go bona gore re a thušega ka gore monabo o e leng gore masole a rena le maphodisa a rena a kgona go sepela mo gona go lekola legora la rena e ka no ba tekano ya kilometara go ba half ya kilometara ge le ka gatelela gore magora a rena a šireletšwa re tlo ba setšhaba se se kano sa mo South Africa nna mo I'm not trying to be xenophobic ke be ke no re motho o mongwe le mongwe o a leng ka mo South Africa a benefiti ka maswanedi a se ka benefita ka boropane re ne le MKMV ya rena ye e leng gore gona jaanong ga bana mešomo ge o ya dikgorong tša rena ka mokana ga tšona o hwetša gore bona batho ba le ba tšwang kwa ntle ka baka la re bona ga botse tabagolo ya bona ke cheap labor ke moka o hwetša bona re a thoma re ya gaakanega.
Honorable Mampuru, please take your seat. Honorable Mokwele.
I just want to check whether it is parliamentary to lobby for your political party members to get employment illegally, because they must apply for vacant positions, not because they are MK, they must be employed. Is it parliamentary, Chair?
Honorable Mokwele, I'm going to allow Honorable Mampuru to continue with the debate. She did not say please employ. She referred, no ma'am, go back and listen properly. She did not say that. She referred to MKMVA, and therefore, I am not going to take this matter any further. Honorable Mampuru, please continue.
Mmereko wa ka o mogolo modulasetulo ke go protecta go cherisha le go promota di-gains tša African National Congress a go ne ya tlo go ntšhošetša ge ke mfa o a tseba le yena gore na go diregang moo o ka se loke ngwana.
Order, order, Honorable Mampuru. Honorable Mokweli and Honorable Mampuru, the dialogue, please. Honorable Mampuru, please continue.
Ke kgopela maitshwarelo modulasetulo a ka se ka ba ja maikutlo a ka gore a ka iša go jana ke sa tilenyana ke be ke sa hlalosa modulasetulo gore go tla ka mono South Africa re sena maswanedi go no ba gona le ditlhotlho fala le fale ke bontšhitše ka taba yona ye ya mešomo because go nyone re bolela ka radical economic transformation re ka se e fihlelele ge re ka se kgone go lemoga tšona tšeo gore ke tše dingwe tše di re šitišago ge o ka ya ka mo metseng ya rena ka magaeng ya rena re bathuši ba rena ka baka la gore molao wa rena wa labour o re file gore re ba leboge jwang ke moka ge o le dikobo tša magetleng mara o le mmotlana o nyaka gore motho a go šalele bana ke moka wa gana yela a tswago ka kua ka baka la gore yena o nyaka no bona a swere se sengwe ka mo letsogong wa dumela yona yeo e ya re compromise re le badudi ba South Africa a re tišeng melao ya rena ka mo kgorong ya Home Affairs gore tšeo re di nyakago re kgone go di fihlelela re di humane ke sa bušeletša ke a gatelela modulasetulo ke re ga gona kgoro ye e ka ikemago e le noši ya gopola gore ge le hlaba letšatši e tla kgona go phethagatša mananeo a ona a re tsenela leng ka baka la gore re a nyakana letšatši le hlabile letšatši le diketše irrespective gore na di-differences tša rena ke tša mohutamang ka gore morero wa rena o mogolo ke go bona gore batho ba rena ba ka South Africa le bao ba tlilego ba hweditšego maswanedi a go dula ka South Africa ba hwetšetše di fumanego a ke gatelele gape gore kwa dikgoroneng tša rena tša go tsena modulasetulo re ile re go la Mpumalanga gana kwa tuition center re hweditše go na le tlhotlho ya gore badudi ba ka mola Swaziland ba tla ka mono gore na ba tlo hwetša di-grant ke yona ye e re belaetšago yona e gore na ga botsebotse go direga eng mara fela ka gore melao re a e dira letšatši ge le hlaba le ge letšatši dikele re tla e matlafatša tšone tšeo ka mokana ga tšona e tla ba taba ya maloba re a e thekga pego ya gago ministera ke a go leboga modulasetulo.
Ke a leboga. The Honorable Schaefer.
Honourable Chairperson, Ministers, honourable members, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. As the previous speakers have stated, we acknowledge the work that the department has done to provide the 6.8 million people with smart IDs, giving people dignity through identity. But the reality is this. In the space of 1 year, this department and its onerous visa regulations, which have still not been revoked, have prevented 13,246 tourists from visiting South Africa, equating to 7.51 billion revenue loss to the South African economy. That 9.6 million tourist arrivals were recorded in 2013. For 3 consecutive years, the numbers dropped, and in 2016, only 9 million arrivals were recorded. A direct consequence of the visa regulations, a direct negative impact as a result of Home Affairs legislation. And then to add further fuel to the fire, biometric data capturing has resulted in huge congestion at OR Tambo International Airport. Why? Because there was insufficient Department of Home Affairs personnel to deal with passengers. So much so, the travelers have rated OR Tambo as one of the worst airports to travel through. Despite the rebuttal by the tourism sector and a call across the board for the regulations to be revoked, the Department of Home Affairs took to Twitter in defense and responded in a way that one surely had to laugh. Ms. Twete, the DAH spokesperson, defended the reason for not being able to revoke the regulations, stating that because the law came through Parliament, they can't be changed overnight, resulting in an immediate response and correction from the former Minister of Tourism, Minister Derek Hanekom, reminding Ms. Twete that you really ought to know that the provisions are in the regulations and not in the Act. Everyone should know by now that the regulations can be revoked upon signature and do not require any lengthy process at all. So while you may be pleased to report the significant progress made in implementing the Cabinet decisions, it's really still not good enough. And while you may equate the necessity of unabridged birth certificates to human trafficking, let me ask you the same question I asked the former minister, who frankly could not answer me. How many incidents of child trafficking or human trafficking have Home Affairs incepted in the last 12 months when approximately 22 million passenger movements at OR Tambo and 12 million passenger movements at Cape Town International have occurred over the past 12 months? My guess is none. The challenging to human trafficking minister is not a lack of legislation, but rather the failure to enforce existing legislation. How many such cases have been intercepted at our country's border crossings where millions annually pass through? What a challenge this new minister has to deal with, the legacy left by her predecessor, the Honourable Minister Malusi Gigaba. After all, her department and the ex-Minister Gigaba have been accused of currying favour to ANN7 Indian national employees with fast-tracked work permits on the one hand and citizenship to the Guptas meant for prominent businessmen, executives of multinationals and sports people on the other. Corruption has reared its ugly head in this department, with the minister expressing herself quite clearly that she had found it depressing to uncover the levels of corruption evident in her department. Quite depressing it is when no one in department can tell us how many million undocumented immigrants are currently living in South Africa. And to really add a cherry to the top of the cake, this is a department who, as we enter into the fourth industrial revolution, has yet to digitize its record management. Even your own ANC discussion document acknowledges that this department is unable to do its job right now. This department certainly has a great deal of work to do. I sincerely hope that the minister is aware that her department plays a vital role in the growth and stimulation of this economy. That this department during 2016 had not approved a single business visa for any new startup business. And when the department increased the minimum amount for a business visa to 5 million rand, she, I'm sure, is well aware of the fact that the opportunity to create jobs and transfer skills is completely lost. General work visas are proving virtually impossible to renew since the implementation of the current immigration laws in 2014, when the Department of Labour took a more significant role in the process. In fact, it's a total disaster for anyone ever trying to attain a work visa. We live in a globalized world, and the choice to start a business elsewhere will depend on the ease of being able to do so. Just look closely at Mauritius, who welcome the opportunity for jobs and growth. Mauritius is open for business, they say, and open for business it certainly is. In addition to this, the department's new proposal to incorporate the ministry into the National Departments of Justice and Security is completely illogical. This decision seems to remove the responsibilities of the department, essentially placing them onto other organ states. Why then has the department in the first place, if, for example, the minister seeks to remove a department as a clearly identifiable border authority, leaving SAPS, the South African National Defence Force, and SARS to somehow coordinate their actions to protect the country's point of entry? Completely ludicrous. Furthermore, the department's desire to charge a fee on a slew of transactions and administer processes related to banks and national service providers reeks of potential corruption and state capture. Using the personal information of each and every citizen in South Africa to hold the private sector ransom for a fee is not viable. In fact, it's completely scandalous. South Africans already pay tax to fund this department, so why pay additional fees to make use of a public service? This also raises the question as to where the funds raised by the department will end up. In an account to better government services or in the pockets of ANC-linked families such as the Guptas. We have already seen the chaos from unlawful deductions from SASSA grant payments in the Social Development Ministry, not to mention the complete maladministration of the entire department. It seems to me that Home Affairs is following in Batapili's footsteps. Honourable Speaker, Honourable Chairperson, it has become increasingly clear that the Department of Home Affairs seems to be imploding. From removing its mandate and placing it solely onto the shoulders of other ministers, to reforming its service provision to open up in the ministry, to corruption and increased control of the state over the people, the Department of Home Affairs is making some worrying transformations. We should be concerned, really concerned. Essentially, the Department of Home Affairs is slowly becoming yet another ANC failure at national level. I thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The Honorable Mpambo Shibukwane. You are protected, ma'am.
It's 2 minutes 35 that
No,
is
when
gone.
you start, it will be right.
Thank you, thank you. Mhlali ngaphambili walendlu yengwevu, mandizibulisele kuwe. Oqala mhlali ngaphambili makucace caku kade mhlophe ehlungwini into yokuba impembelelo yelizwe jikelele
Upopo.
nemo yotshintsho rhoqo kwihlabathi kwezopolitiki idlala indima enkulu nethe xhaxhe kwimeko yelizwe kwanokuqonda ngengcaciso malunga nemida yethu njengomba ombaxa notshisa ibunzi nekubuzwana ngawo apha kwilizwe loMzantsi Afrika. Nangona ilizwe jikelele neziphumo zalo ezibangela kube nguvula zibhuqe uzenzele nokuba kube kwelikamnebese kubantu bonke kube lilizwe kuyinzuzo nalapho kuba buthathaka kwimo yokhuseleko kwimida yethu kusenokubonakala kuyingxuba kaxaka ingakumbi kulo mphathiswa mtsha usanda ungena ngoba ushiyelwe kubole bhutyo. Singakhange sakhawulela inkawu siyakusela mhlali ngaphambili kubalulekile ukuthi sonke sikuqwalasele oku njengelizwe esisazilo into yoba alinakukhuseleka ilizwe lethu ngaphandle kokhuseleko lwemida yethu. Akuyomfuneko kuphela kutshintsho olunentsingiselo lokufudukela kwelinye ilizwe kodwa kudlala indima ongundoqo kwisohlwayo nokungeniswa ngaphakathi kweziyobisi ezingekho mthethweni nokukhuseleka kwelizwe lethu kwintsontelo zamanye amazwe. Zingenile imihla nezolo abantwana bethu basemngciphekweni wokufunda nempilo yabo ibuthathaka. Kumba wolawulo lwemida yaseMzantsi Afrika owokuqala kufuneka kuthethwe ngawo kuvunyelwane ngumthetho osayilwayo ngabasemagunyeni bolawulo lwemida yethu. Lo mthetho usayilwayo uqononondise ekumiseleni kwegqiza elinye neziphathamandla ezihlangabezana imicimbi yonke enxulumene namazibuko angena apha eMzantsi Afrika. Oku kunika imimandla enjengerhafu yezorhwebo lwabathengi kunye nemigaqo mhlali ngaphambili. Thina singumbutho we-DA sinengqiqo yokuba ukushenxa kulawulo ngokumanyeneyo yindleko engeyomfuneko. Luhlahlo lwabiwo mali olumalunga nama-22 ebhiliyoni ethe yabelwa ekufuneka iphunyeziwe. Nangona kufunyaniswa le ndleko isenokuba sisixamali sezigidi ezintathu ubuncinane xa sifezekise ngokwethu ekufunyaneka kuphunyeziwe. Umphathiswa osanda kufika uyayiqonda kodwa ugxininise ekubeni iindleko ezinjalo zithomalisa inkxalabo yokungenelela lula kwimida yethu njengokuba ebegqiba utsho kwintetho yakhe. Ngokuqinisekileyo urhulumente ebenokusebenzisa ezinye iindlela ezingeyondlela kakhulu ukuhlangabezana nalo mba endaweni yokutshintshiselana ngale mali kweminye imiba yamasebe ingakumbi kweli sebe. Kutsha nje isebe lifumene intsongelo yodusho labasebenzi nakuba ke siphele izolo eso strike ngenxa yomba wentlawulo yokusebenza ixesha elongezelelweyo besetyenziswa ngemigqibelo phofu bekhethelwa benyanzeliswa. Ndizibuza uba iphi inkululeko yokuzikhethela, the freedom of choice. Lubalulekile ulalo olufanelekileyo lwezimali kuwo onke amasebe emsebenzini kwimbonakala nemfuneko yohlolo kwakhona rhoqo. Umba wethu wesibini singulo mbutho we-DA umalunga nendlela entsha esetyenziswa kulawulo lwemida yethu. Okwangoku ulawulo lwemida mhlali ngaphambili kulo Mzantsi Afrika luphantsi kwamalungu ohlukeneyo aseburhulumenteni ogxabana bayibizile igupta njengoko inenjongo yawo ilukhuseleko lemfuno zelizwe nokugcina imida yeRepublic. Sesahluba ke isikhwebu sibona bona kuqala into yokuba bangene njani apho bangene ngokusemthethweni ngoba cacile into yokuba lo usukileyo ushiye esazi yonke into yoba yenzaphi njengoba ngoku ebekwe kulanda uba makavulele pesi yokugqibela. Ngokwenza umphathiswa wesebe lemicimbi yasekhaya kunye nomongameli bebezisiphathamandla ezizodwa nokubhangisa ithuba lolawulo lomda wethu ngolungiselelwaniswe ngokumanyene nakuluncedo kurhwebo olufanelekileyo nokuthatha uhambo olukhuselekileyo ngokomthetho weli lizwe nangokomgaqoseko mawulandelwe mhlali ngaphambili. Xa ndiphetha ndifuna ukuthi thina siyi-DA mhlali ngaphambili sifumanisa kuyimfuneko ulawulo oluqotho kweli sebe. Iinjongo zengeniso zaseMzantsi Afrika zifanele ukuba zizo kuphela ezinegunya nemvumo ngokwasemthethweni yokuhlangabezana neziphumo zokunisela ngamandla angenakufaniswa nanto kwimigaqo yelizwe. Sodwa kumbutho wethu weqela eliphikisayo kwanosazi uyayivuma le nto unondyebo uPravin obesakuba khona uGordhan kunye noNhlanhla Nene babona ngasonye nathi. Ndifuna ukuthi mhlali ngaphambili xa ndiqukumbela kunyanisiwe xa kusithiwa umphando ongenatyala uyahuhuza ibonakala phaa kobekekileyo Honorable Mampuru.
Siyabonga sisi, ixesha lakho kudala laphela.
Sashiyeka umzuzu undithathela 2 minutes.
Ijongile. Siyabonga mama. The Honorable Nyambi. Honorable Nyambi, you are protected.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Ministers, special delegates, MECs, Honorable members, distinguished guests. It is with a profound sense of humility that I stand before you to debate the Home Affairs budget vote for 2017-18 financial year. Being in front of you, honorable members, I'm reminded of wise words of a great leader of the continent, the late grandson of Africa, Thomas Sankara. Open quote. Let us avoid ramblings that give rise to useless theoretical flow charts devoid of interest to the masses, simply destined to contemplation by few dreamers and self-gratifying fanatics, close quote. Chairperson, I'm standing here today thinking of what I said last week about the story of Matume, that it will be in order to always have somebody that will come to be in front of us, criticize and give credit where it's due. I've got a birth certificate, it's because of the department. I've got an ID document, it's because of the department. I do also have a marriage certificate, it's because of the department.
Honorable Nyambi, please just take a second. Honorable Mampuru, Honorable Mpambo Sibukwan, desist from what you are doing. Honorable Mampuru, Honorable Mpambo Sibukwan, stop what you are doing. Both of you. Please continue, Honorable Nyambi.
Le nkulumo yami
Honorable Mukweli.
Ke ne ke botsa gore a se bui se ka tsaya potso.
Honorable Nyambi, do you wish to take a question?
Take it.
I'm ready.
He is ready, please proceed.
Are you aware that when we were in Bophuthatswana, we had our IDs and our passport and readily on time to be renewed, unlike now in the present gesture?
Please proceed, Ndade Nyambi.
I was looking forward to deal with a question that will be linked to the budget that we are dealing with today. Unfortunately, we are failing with that regard, but...
No, you put your question.
I'm responding.
He is responding to your question. Please proceed, sir.
I knew that what was said by Sankara was referring to a person like yourself.
Honorable
you were just
Nyambi,
standing up without even a substantive question.
Honorable Nyambi, please. Honorable Makue.
Ek is jammer, ek wil nou nie die bespreking onderbreek nie, maar daar's 'n toeskouer in die balkonie wat foto's neem, nogal met 'n liggie op ook. Jammer voorsitter.
Thank you. Honorable members, ma'am, please, you are supposed to participate with your ears, not with your phones and your cameras. Thank you very much. I was addressing you, ma'am. Please don't take photos without our permission. Honorable Mukwili, are you on another point of order? Proceed.
On a point of order, Chair, I don't care what my honorable member is saying
It's not a
about me,
point of
about the
order.
quotation of Sankar. He knows very well that that quotation refers to them as the ANC. I don't care.
Thank you
I
very
don't
much.
care
That
what
is
you are
not a
saying
point
to
of
us.
order.
And let me tell you, you are failing our
Honorable
people as the
Mukwili.
ANC. It's true.
Honorable Mukwili, I want to address you on your point of caring. Now, honorable members, when you say I don't care in your private space, it's your business. When you say you don't care and you are occupying a public platform in a house that is supposed to be leading the country, it becomes a big issue. I would want to ask members once more, watch your language, watch your gestures. Please watch your vocabulary. Because what you do in this house reflects out there. Honorable Mukwili, to come back to your point of order. How you feel is not a point of order in this house. So that was not, the I don't care was not a point of order. Please proceed, Honorable Nyambi.
Let me enjoy the response. When you wanted to ask a question, I thought you have a question, so I decided to give you an opportunity and you expose yourself. That is why a great philosopher once said,
Honorable Mukwili, you will not
sometimes
drown
it's
out the
better-
speaker.
sometimes it's better
No, ma'am, you will not drown out the speaker. Please take your seat. You were not going to rise up until I told you not to drown out the speaker. Thank you very much. Please take your seat. Proceed, Honorable Nyambi. Honorable Nyambi, please take a seat. It is your third point of order in the last 5 minutes.
I just want to tell the Honorable Nyambi that it is the responsibility of Home Affairs to give people IDs and birth
Honorable Mukwili,
registrations.
please don't
It's
try
not like
my-
they are doing something.
Honorable Mukwili, don't try my patience. You rose on a point of order. That is not a point of order. And I will not entertain any other frivolous point of order from you. Honorable Nyambi, please proceed. Honorable Nyambi, please proceed.
The package in terms of response is a wise way by a great philosopher that it's always wise to keep quiet and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and leave no doubt. That's what is happening. Minister, le budget lena mine nginikela kugogo lakhoza lena enkomazi.
Honorable Nyambi, please take your seat. Honorable Shabangu, you are on your feet. Please take your seat, sir. Honorable Shabangu?
Is it parliamentary that Mr. Nyambi should say a leader is a fool in his quotation? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Shabangu, did you say any member in this house is a fool? Oh, Honorable Nyambi, did you say any member in this house is a
I
fool?
will never say that, Chairperson. No, not at all.
Honorable Nyambi, please repeat what you said.
A greatest philosopher taught us that it is better to keep quiet and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and leave. No doubt that's a quotation from a greatest philosopher. That's what I
Please
said.
proceed. Proceed.
Minister, enkomazi la ngibuya khona kuna gogo la Khoza. Gogo la Khoza ngamati ngisaseneminyaka lesithupha. Kepha nginele kutsi ngibe eParliament ngimati njengagogo logugile wafika eConstituency Office. Incwadzi yakhe yamatisi beyikhombisa ukuthi watalwa nga-1965. Kepha abonakala ukuthi ungogo. Kepha litiko lakho ngemva kokuthi silethe lesikhalo lakhona ukuthi lilethe bantfu labafanelekile ukuthi balungise indzaba yagogo la Khoza ngekuthi bambute imibuzo basebentise ebantfu labatiko kubona logo. Lobe kuyinkinga kwekuthi umntwana wakhe kubonakala ukuthi lo oqala wamthola aneminyaka lemibili bamlungisela gogo la Khoza kwabonakala ukuthi watala ngomnyaka wa 1941. Lokho ngilokusenda ukuthi sisho ukuthi ngalokuthi khona tinkinga ku department kukhona lokuhamba kahle. The challenges that I want to bring today that we have to attend, especially as people that have got a program as NCOP taking parliament to the people. We went to Free State, those that are bordering Lesotho, and I'm from Mpumalanga. I'm part of the municipality that is bordering Swaziland and Mozambique. The challenges of those municipalities that are residing within those borders are very unique. If we can have a unique team that can be dedicated to assist those municipalities because the situation is very unique. And now with our program of pre-visit in Free State, we picked up some challenges, and I think it will be in order, Honorable Minister, when in August going to Free State with our program, taking parliament to the people, if you can avail yourself or the Deputy Minister to be part of the program, it can go a long way to assist. The second issue as a challenge is the issue of vacant posts. We are of the view that there is no department that can be able to function at an optimal level with a number of vacant posts. So it's an issue that needs an urgent attention so that you can have efficiency and effectiveness in the department. We are quite clear about the values of the Department of Home Affairs. To mention just a few: people-centered and caring, patriotic, professional and having integrity, corruption-free and ethical, efficient and innovative, discipline and security conscious. These values, Honorable Minister, if we can have any person who's having a tag as an official of your department being imbued and understanding what is the implication of these values, it can go a long way. The issue of the upgrade of the 6 posts of the largest land post entry in our country, I'll speak about those that we have in Mpumalanga. In Mpumalanga, we have Oshuk and Lebombo border gate, border post. The challenges that were raised then, even though there is progress, but there are still some issues that are outstanding, and if they can be attended to, Minister. The issue of Matsamo and Mananga, the closing hours is an issue that can be attended at the committee level so that we can make it a point that the outstanding issues are sorted in time. When I was sitting there, I was asking myself, when we are here, Honorable Hatting, what is it that we are debating here? And I get a sense that you are, somebody prepared your speech for a wrong budget vote. That is why it was clear that you don't understand the core mandate of the Department of Home Affairs is to secure and confirm our identity and citizenship. And it's not even dealing with 5 million, 1 million, it's dealing with the entire population of South Africa. Right from birth, you have to get a birth certificate. At a particular age, you must get an identity document. You must get a passport. When you die, you are supposed to get a death certificate. I'm proud when those things are being done in an efficient way. Honorable Hatting, every time when you are here, I am always looking forward to a day when we are going to be able.
Honorable Nyambi, please take your seat. Honorable Hatting, you look ready. Is that a point of
Chair,
order?
I would thought that the Honourable House Chair would know that he cannot address members directly, but should address members through the Chair. It's
Thank
a
you,
basic
sir.
rule. Perhaps
Thank
we
you,
should look
sir.
at the refreshment course for House Chairs.
No, your point is made. Honorable Nyambi, please address Honorable Hatting through me. Honorable Dlamini, you are on your feet. Please take your seat, sir. Honorable Dlamini.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I'm standing on a point of order. Is it possible that Honorable Mkwili, the member of the EFF, to defend Honorable Hatting, the member of the DA in the House?
Honorable Dlamini, that's not a point of order. Please proceed, Honorable Nyambi.
They were quite clear that the role of the department in securing identity and status of every citizen is in line with our constitution and the Republic of the Democratic South Africa. Honorable members, the supreme test of any parliament in the current period is the ability to inspire confidence of the people that tomorrow will be better than today. The Honorable, through you, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Hatting, as an African National Congress, this budget we support not because it's fashionable to support, but because this budget will put us on the right track towards realizing the strategic objective as presented by the department. That is why Abraham Lincoln, open quote, said, as opposition, you can fool some of the people all the time, and all the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time, close quote. The desperation that you displayed when we are here will deceive those that don't understand. We are not confused, we are not desperate, we are not dishonest, we understand what we are doing. No wonder when you want us to give you an opportunity to ask questions, you expose your ignorance. We support this budget vote. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Order, order, order. The Honorable the Minister.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I would like to thank all the members who have participated in the debate and also to try within my limited minutes to clarify a few issues. Firstly, I think Honorable Dlamini set a clear tone in terms of where the department is. She raised the issue of security of documents and the importance of citizenship. And it's very, very important, honorable members, for all of us to avoid contradictions when dealing with this issue of the mandate of the Department of Home Affairs. We have to admit, Honorable Chairperson, that there seem to be a confusion and contradictions in terms of what the department stands for, where it is today, and where it's going. I pick up the issue around the granting of citizenship to specific families. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members will know that officials in government, including public representative, you make decisions based on facts. We have a responsibility and a duty to ensure that our processes have integrity, they are honorable, and they can pass the test of time. They are not informed nor determined by
Honorable
headlines.
Minister, please take your seat. Honorable Minister, please take your seat. Honorable Mokwele?
Stilo
There's a seat.
ke seo stilo mama.
Honorable Mokwele?
Ke a leboga module- ne ke mmontsha stilo na
No, you are
timetse.
not an usher in this
Okay.
house.
All right. No, ne ke re honorable minister ska shaya away to mention the Gupta family because we mentioned the family that was given citizenship. She
Thank you,
must
ma'am.
say it with her own words. She must
Ma'am,
say it.
thank you very much. That's not a point of order at all. Proceed, Honorable Minister.
So, Honorable Chairperson, I want to reiterate and to emphasize the importance of the integrity of our processes. As a country which is respected within the league of other nations, we have to follow policies and legislation. So in the process of the questions that have been raised and what is in the public domain, under the leadership of the Director General, there's a process of reviewing and collecting data on any query around the granting of citizenship, including what seem to be catching the headlines, the questions around the Gupta family. But I want to assure the House that whatever we say will show that the decisions are taken with integrity and the dignity of society. Honorable Chairperson, I think the Honorable Matebula of the EFF seemed really to be completely confused.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Matebula did not debate. It's Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Mokwele, please take your seat. Please take your seat.
Okay. You see, Honorable Chairperson, we presented the bill in Parliament, which is really meant to help all government officials to be able to coordinate and cooperate, the police, the defense, and SARS. There was no intention of overtaking each other's roles and responsibilities because they are legislated. So it gives cause for concern if public representatives seem not to understand that I cannot usurp the roles of the police. I cannot usurp the roles, the responsibilities of SASSA. So it's important, honorable members, to understand that some of the issues raised here, they call for tightening of security at the point of entry. And that's what the whole attempt of a border management authority is meant to do, to eliminate the influx of people who are in the country for wrong reason. Honorable Chairperson, I would like to also thank Honorable Kaula, who really, I suppose, seemed to have a concern about rural and communities and the poor. We would like to draw Honorable Chairperson your attention to the fact that we inherited the infrastructure of the colonial and apartheid era, which really, for them, the homeland system were not meant to dignified people. The new government has not had its own project of infrastructure development, but under the repositioned Home Affairs, it's not only about technology, but also there's a vision that we have to look at the location of these offices so that the poorest of the poor don't have to pay the highest price in looking for offices, taking 2 or 3 taxis.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Your time has expired.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, ma'am.
Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable members, that concludes the debate, and I would like to thank the Minister. The Secretary will read the second order of the day.
Policy debate on budget vote number 35, Transport Appropriation Bill B5 2017.
Thank you. Would be very grateful if this bench here doesn't disturb my ear. I would like to invite the Minister of the Transport, the Honorable Maswanganyi.
Councillor Mtsamashtulu, members of the National Council of Provinces, Minister, Deputy Ministers, MECs present, SALGA representative, acting DG, leadership and representatives of transport entities, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Addressing the Conference of Heads of State of Non-Aligned Countries in Delhi in March 1983, President Oliver Tambo said the apartheid system was a socio-economic and political anachronism, which has been very aptly identified as a crime against humanity, and that to catalogue the manifestation of that crime is itself a harrowing exercise and evokes a deep sense of revulsions. In the past 23 years, Honorable Chairperson of Freedom and Democracy, the ANC of Oliver Tambo has been working tirelessly to improve the overall condition of life of the majority of South Africans. Service delivery has improved dramatically, underlining the fact that government ensured that it meets its commitment to advance progressively towards the achievement of the goal of better life for all. The fight against poverty has been a central tenet of the work of the democratic government and drives the government's program of action. Honorable Chairperson, we remain resolute in the implementation of the National Infrastructure Plan, which aims to transform our economic landscape while simultaneously creating significant numbers of new jobs and strengthen the delivery of basic services. We will transform the structure of the economy by creating black industrialists with the biggest chunk of our investment in infrastructure, continue to be directed towards broad-based black economic empowerment, benefiting youth, women, and people with disabilities. In order to continuously broaden wide participation of all South Africans in the transport value chain, the Transport Sector BBB Economic Empowerment Charter Council undertook 9 provincial roadshows with the intention to engage all subsectors of transport to redress the apartheid legacy of economic exclusion. Using the Transport Economic Regulator Bill, we intend to deal decisively with regulatory shortcomings across the transport sector, which will lead to transparency in pricing and leveling the playing field within the transport industry. We also conducted the National Transport Master Plan 2050 roadshows in provinces, The plan aims to achieve an integrated, smart, and efficient transport system supporting a thriving economy that promotes sustainable economic growth, supports a healthier lifestyle, provides safe and accessible mobility options. We have successfully gazetted the National Land Transport Strategic Framework, which represents an overarching national 5-year transport strategy that provides guidance on transport planning and land transport delivery by national government to all provinces and municipalities. Chairperson, the attitude and irresponsible choices of our road users continue unabated to cause loss of lives on our roads. This is so because human factor remains a causal factor for most of the crashes and injuries we continue to experience on our roads. We all know that this can be avoidable if we all prioritize road safety and use our roads responsibly. Our statistics indicate that people who died on the roads are passengers, followed by pedestrians, drivers, and cyclists. Most fatal crashes happen in the after hours of the day, especially from 18 hours to 2200 to early hours. The intensified collaboration and engagement between the Department of Public Service and Administration, RTMC, provincial governments, and labor formations will pave the way for the introduction of a 24/7 work shift within the traffic law enforcement fraternity, ensuring the availability of officers on the road at all material times. Cabinet has approved the new road safety strategy. There are plans now in place to conduct roadshows with provinces, municipalities, and private sector to deal with the scourge of road fatalities and injuries. It is therefore critical for appropriate cooperative and intergovernmental agreements that formal partnerships and oversight structure to be established. This is done to ensure road safety is dealt with in cohesive, transversal, and integrated manner. Equally important, Chairperson, we have started a parliamentary process led by the Portfolio Committee on Transport to extensively consult on ARTO Amendment Bill, which will introduce a demerit system intended to improve the conduct and behavior of drivers on the roads. Honorable Chairperson, the department endeavors to enhance travel experience by improving and maintaining the national road network for the social development and economic growth of South Africa. At 750,000 kilometers, the South African road network is the 10th longest in the world. Of these, the national road network serves as the arteries for balanced economic growth across our country. This represents approximately 3% of the total road network, but it carries more than a third of all daily traffic and 70% of road freight movement in South Africa. The 2,948-kilometer toll network represents 13% of Central network, with the 19,238 non-toll network that receives grant from government. It must be noted that the current funding model of our roads does not provide for cross-subsidization, which therefore makes it important for Central to finalize the new tolling policy, as well as finding other mechanisms to fund our road infrastructure. Honorable Chairperson, heavy-duty trucks are causing many of the road safety and infrastructure problems we continue to experience in our provinces. We have reviewed the National Freight Logistics Strategy, which underpin the Back to Rail strategic intervention. The upgrading and expansion of the capacity of the R573, known as the Moloto Corridor, straddling the provinces of Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and Gauteng has commenced. This 139-kilometer stretch of road, on average, is used by approximately 50,000 commuters daily, including buses, taxis, and heavy trucks. The Moloto Corridor as a strategic integrated project, SIP, plays a significant role as a logistics spine to transport people, minerals, and agricultural produce into regional markets and to our export harbors. Apart from boosting the Waterberg mineral belt, the Moloto corridor will also boost local economies along the Moloto Road, notably the Skukuni district in Limpopo and Dr. J.S. Moroka and Tembisile Hani municipalities in the Kangala district of Pumalanga and Tshwane in Gauteng. Ilava ku tivisa vanhu va ka Skukuni mutshama xitulu ku ri hi ta va tisela xitimela xi suka ka Skukuni xi ya Joni. We have appointed contractors to commence with the Moloto Development Corridor by expanding the current road, making it more user-friendly. At the end of the project, we have created 12,500 jobs. We are also going to unbundle the bus contract in this corridor to widen participation by small, localized, and designated groups. In terms of the Moloto Rail Initiative, the department concluded a feasibility study that confirmed rapid rail as the preferred long-term transport solution for the corridor. The Moloto Rail Development Project was included in a list of projects submitted to the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC, for funding. Through PRASA, we have entered into a memorandum of understanding with the China Communications Construction Company Limited, CCCC, to specifically explore areas of possible cooperation on the implementation of the Moloto Rail Corridor Initiative. We have also developed the draft Harry-Smith Hub framework in consultation with the affected stakeholders, including the Free State Provincial Government. The aim of this project is to strengthen the logistics and transport corridor between South Africa's main industrial hubs and to improve access to Durban's export and import facilities. At the provincial level, feasibility studies for the development of the hub have been conducted and options analysis interim report has been produced. Honorable Chairperson, the rehabilitation of the 5,390 lane kilometers of provincial managed roads and the resealing of 11,976 lane kilometers are projected to cost 32.5 billion rand through the Provincial Roads Maintenance Grant, PRMG. In the 2017-2018 period, 10.75 billion is allocated for the Provincial Road Maintenance Grant, popularly known as the Sihamba Sonke program. Through this program, we continue to address the spatial inequalities, create job opportunities, improve rural transport and its infrastructure, and also open the rural economy to new investment and development while also providing the much needed maintenance to the road infrastructure. With this program, we have created 137,887 jobs, of which 28,933 are youth, 54,018 are women, and 180 are people living with disabilities. We will continue to increase the PRMG over time in order to ensure preventative maintenance and reduction of the backlog to be achieved simultaneously. For the current financial year, the allocation of the provincial roads maintenance to provinces is outlined below. To improve the efficiency of the spending on road maintenance in provinces, the allocations in the provincial roads maintenance grant for the coal haulage network is reprioritized in the current financial year to create a new performance component in the grant. This component is expected to be 1.9 billion rand over the MTF period and will include a new performance measure to ensure that investments are made in a manner that reduces the cost of transport in the economy. Honorable Chairperson, our biggest railway deal in South Africa's history is predicted to propel our economy to a new level of prosperity. Our investment in rail transportation is the beginning of the rolling out of the government's comprehensive rail program over the next 2 decades. This positions our rolling stock fleet renewal program as the catalyst for transportation of our metro rail services in particular and public transport as a whole. Our immediate and urgent task is to stabilize and provide a predictable metro rail service within current capacity, measured by increased ridership, customer satisfaction, and efficiency. Critical as well is for us to ensure that we provide our demand-driven services according to customer travel needs and ensuring predictability and reliable information dissemination. To this extent, we took delivery of 18 of the 20 new trains affectionately known as the People's Train, built in Brazil. The new trains are part of the first rollout of 600 train sets that will be implemented over the next 20 years. The remaining 580 trains will be built in South Africa at a local factory located in Nigel, Ekurhuleni. Attached to the local factory, government is facilitating the development of a supplier park that will support the manufacturing at the factory with local components. The move will help achieve localization and transformation goals, including participation of Black industrialists, SMEs, women, youth, and people living with disabilities. The next deployment of the new trains in the 2018-2019 financial year will be at Sosville, Mabupani, Naledi, Khayelitsha, Umlazi, and Kwamashu. Through the PTNG, we continue to fund the infrastructure and operations of these integrated transport networks in the 13 cities across South Africa. Honorable Chairperson, to address ongoing financial difficulties in the subsidized bus services, we agreed with the provinces to increase the PTOG baseline to 9.33%. The contract rate escalation will be 7.82%, while the remaining 1.5% will be spent on stabilization. The department has finalized the process of reviewing the impact and performance of the taxi recapitalization program. Equally important, government is finalizing the public transport subsidy policy, which will focus more on subsidizing the user than the operators, irrespective of the mode of transport they use. It is totally unacceptable that other modes, particularly the taxis, are not included in the current subsidy regime, despite the 2013 National Household Survey, Transport Survey results, which indicated that taxis are the most preferred public transport mode, accounting for over 68% of the daily commuting public. Given this disparity in subsidies or lack of it, we will be meeting the taxi industry, the rail sector, and bus operators to discuss the public transport subsidy policy to make sure that all modes of transport are actually included in the subsidy policy. Honorable Chairperson, aviation in South Africa has an extremely important role to play in achieving sustainable growth and development for the tourism industry and economy at large. To this effect, we have developed the National Aviation Development Plan to guide and support our overall airport network planning and the development of our regional as well as local airports. As South Africa, we are therefore serious about airport route expansion and the increase in domestic connectivity. Honorable Chairperson, coupled with a depressed global economy, the implementation of various Operation Pakistan initiatives, as well as outcomes of the broader maritime development agenda, continue to yield positive results, ranging from economic development, job creation, capacity building, and generally reclaiming South Africa's status as a maritime economy. We also continue to implement Shova Kalula Bicycle Project to promote and maximize the use of bicycle transport in rural, peri-urban, urban areas and farming communities. Honorable Chairperson, having said the above, we therefore table the budget for 2017-2018 that stand at 59 billion rand, which is 6.8% increase from the 2016-2017 budget. It is for this reason that as the ANC government, in presenting this budget, we remain committed to ensure that this budget is put to good use and will go a long way to improve the lives of our people, particularly the black majority. This budget will contribute towards the dismantling of the apartheid manifestations and legacy. Honorable Chairperson, working together, we move South Africa forward. Inkomo nakhensa mtsamashitulu.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Khai.
Honorable Chairperson of the NCOP, Minister of Transport, Minister of Home Affairs, honorable members, special delegates, distinguished guests, fellow South Africans. It is my pleasure and great honor to debate the budget vote of transport on behalf of the African National Congress in its quest to transform the lives of South African populace for the better. We are debating this budget vote at the time we are commemorating the 41st anniversary of youth uprising in Soweto, the 21st anniversary of our democratic constitution, and the 54th anniversary of the erstwhile Organization of African Unity, OAU, now African Union, which is marked in tandem with the centenary struggle icon and internationalist, former and long-serving president of the ANC, Comrade Datu Oliver Reginald Tambo. In our quest to build a united, non-sexist, non-racial, democratic, and prosperous South Africa, we are tasked to emulate the ideals which Datu Oliver Tambo epitomized in his entire life in the struggle for humanity. Datu Tambo displayed selflessness and patriotism and played a remarkable role in bringing us to where we are now. He was part of the National Action Committee, which drafted the Freedom Charter following extensive nationwide inputs and consultation. The Freedom Charter today remains the lodestar and backbone of our constitutional democracy. In our commitment to better the lives of our people, we are taking the legacy of Datu Tambo, which seeks to liberate people from bondages of poverty and backwardness, irrespective of their race, class, or gender. Despite the significant gains we have made since 1994, we still have challenges where our people struggle to provide their families. Inequality is deeper and joblessness continue to haunt our people, particularly youth and women. These challenges are at the center of policy priorities we set ourselves as the African National Congress at our 53rd National Conference in Mangaung in 2012, which noted that structural unemployment remains unacceptably high, particularly among the youth, women, especially black women, continue to bear the brunt of structural imbalances in the economy. Therefore, amongst others, the conference resolved that government ambitious infrastructure program will support the growth of our supply sector, unlock key bottlenecks in the economy, and underpin the structural transformation that we seek. It is a program based around strategic integrated projects that will have a catalytic impact on job creation, unlocking resources, developing the poorest regions of our country, overcoming spatial inequalities, and developing the regions. In addressing these backlogs, President Zuma reiterated the ruling party's call for radical economic transformation in its drive to ensure that the National Development Plan vision of an inclusive, equitable, and fast-growing economy is achieved. This call is aimed at ensuring that the economy is placed on a qualitative different path that strive for sustainable socio-economic growth and development. The department's budget for 2017-2018 financial year amounts to 59 billion, which will focus on improving mobility and access to social and economic activities by maintaining the provincial national road network, upgrading and maintaining rail infrastructure, and improving public transport for rail and road commuters. These activities contribute to the realization of outcome 6, an efficient, competitive, and responsive economic infrastructure network of government 2014-2019 medium-term strategic framework. The department's total expenditure over the medium term will mainly be driven by the transfer to the public entities, provinces, and municipalities for infrastructure spending, operations, and maintenance. The budget vote and department commits to continue funding and monitoring the Sihamba Songe program, which is aimed at rehabilitating, upgrading, and maintaining road infrastructure, as well as creating the much-needed jobs. The minister has went to town with regard to the details of this. Part of the funding for this program will be prioritized for patching of potholes through Operation Nzelanhle. This program aims to create 6 million work opportunities, of which the bulk will be for the women, youth, and people with disabilities. To deal with the optimum split between road and rail cargo, and in order to lessen the burden on our roads and increase the rail market share, Cabinet has recently approved the rail freight strategy, which will ensure an increase of the rail market share of 2% per annum over the MTEF period to 2019. Through the implementation of the recommendation in this strategy, a more enhanced and efficient enforcement will be realized, including the promotion of road safety, an improved protection of infrastructure, and a reduced environmental impact. The strategy seeks to establish an integrated framework of quality-regulated competition, creating an enhanced environment for the road freight sector to better serve the needs of the South African economy. In our journey and a commitment to develop the lives of our people through infrastructure, ANC-led government has launched infrastructure program that will help in alleviating bottlenecks of the economy and expediting the improvement of social infrastructure in bettering the lives of our people. Investment in public transport and transport infrastructure in rural areas will remain a priority for the medium term. Our people in remote rural areas.
Thank you very much. The honorable member, please take your seat. Honorable Mokwele.
Order, Chair.
What is the point of order?
I just want to check with the speaker that he will take a question.
Let's ascertain first. The honorable member, are you ready to take the question?
When I'm done with the speech.
He's not ready. Take
You were
your seat,
deployed to
Honorable
deal with
Mokwele. Take your seat. Thank you. Continue, honorable member.
Thank you, House Chair. Our people in remote areas cannot be cut off from major economic centers. Transport infrastructure remains the bedrock of providing access to markets, economic opportunities, and access to social services. The National Household Travel Survey 2013 has highlighted that a very large percentage of the population cannot afford transport costs. It further reveals that the population has limited access to transport services. We'll continue to assess and review the impact of rural transport strategy, which will inform transport services that are optimal and impact positively in critical areas that need assistance. In the last financial year, SANRAL continued with the training of contractors in construction and maintenance projects. About 4,120 people in road building and other skills were trained. 15,721 jobs were created through the fulfillment of contracts. This is a clear indication that the government is committed to transform the lives of our people. Significant changes have been made. As outlined in the ANC 2014 election manifesto, ANC-led government will continue to invest in the upgrading and expansion of the country's rail, port, and pipeline infrastructure as part of our effort to shift freight transport from road to rail. In May this year, President Jacob Zuma successfully handed over the new PRASA trains to the general public for the operation by Metro Rail between PLENARY Sport Station and Pretoria Station as a first deployment corridor. To date, 18 new trains, known as the People's Train, that the minister alluded to, have been delivered. The new trains, as part of the first rollout, will be implemented over the next 20 years. The remaining 580 trains will be built in South Africa by Gibela at a local factory located in Danotan Park, Ekurhuleni. Recognition that the majority of our population rely on public transport has seen us invest 5.9 billion in planning, construction, and operating of the integrated public transport networks in the 13 cities, with 4 already running at 6.
Honorable Khai, please take your seat. Honorable Gale.
Can the honorable member take a question, please?
Are you ready to take the question, Honorable Khai?
So I said as soon as I'm done with the speech.
He's not ready. Continue, Honorable Member.
Those in full operation are Ria Vaya in Johannesburg, Arieng in Tshwane, My City in Cape Town, Go George in George. The National Household Travel Survey revealed that barriers to mobility in the country have been reduced in the last 11 years, yet several challenges remain. Rural households have better access to public transport and have reduced travel times. There has been a general increase in the percentage of households who use taxis from 59% to 68.8%, buses from 16.6% to 20.1%, and trains from 5.7% to 9.9%. This reflects a general increase of the percentage of travelers in the country during 2003 and 2013. Indeed, the ANC-led government is a government at work with considerable improvement having been made in the public transport sector. All public transport modes must be integrated and must remain accessible, reliable, and affordable to the elderly, people living with disabilities, and most vulnerable in our society. The development of National Transport Master Plan 2050 is a comprehensive multimodal, integrated, and dynamic plan that provides a sustainable framework not only for the implementing transport, but also providing infrastructure and services for the future. Most importantly, the master plan seeks to develop continuously and improve the efficiency and effectiveness of a multimodal transport system. It seeks to ensure a transport system that is well-regulated, well-managed, and effectively coordinated, with cooperation between government spheres, relevant private sector, civil society partners, and stakeholders. The National Transport Master Plan's primary goal is the development of an integrated, dynamic, sustainable framework for transport infrastructure, implementation, and services provision. It reflects the shifting of transport policy away from typical demand response position, where transport infrastructure is provided in response to sufficient demand, to a developmental and transformative approach. This means the transport projects have to be used as a catalyst to unlock development and support transformation in our country, even though there is not always sufficient demand. The National Transport Master Plan has a development benchmark. For example, due to internal and external pressure on African governments to accelerate the development of critical infrastructure in transport, ICT and energy, individual African infrastructure strategies are being aligned through the program for infrastructure development in Africa. From a regional perspective, a policy alignment finds no greater expression than in the Southern African Development Community Regional Infrastructure Development Plan and the COMESA East African Community and SADC. Tripartite International Regional Infrastructure Master Plan. The Gauteng provincial government, through the Gauteng Department of Roads and Transport, has developed a 25-year integrated transport master plan for the Gauteng province, and it is duly aligned with the National Transport Master Plan. We have intensified our input in Operation Pakisa to ensure that the marine transport sector transforms and plays its optimal role within the ocean economy. The Green Paper on National Maritime Transport Policy has been finalized. With this policy, we intend to develop the maritime transport sector that will capitalize on the potential of both shipping and also support industries as significant contributors to economic employment opportunities. The African Maritime Charter was also approved by Parliament. The Charter provides a legal framework to address challenges in maritime transport facing African countries. It also offers concrete proposals on the establishment of appropriate programs and institutions. I'm ready to take questions.
The Honorable Khai is ready to take questions. Honorable Mukwele, you'll be the first one, okay? Honorable Gela, over to order. Honorable Mukwele, order.
Honorable Member, you said that there are over 4,000 contractors trained. How many of these trained contractors have received any projects from the department? Secondly,
unfortunately, Honorable Gaila, his time is expired. Thank you, Honorable Khai. The Honorable Faber. If you start with the debate, Honorable Member, the time will be fixed.
Honorable Chair, members, guests in the gallery. The past year has been a year of many challenges, as the ANC usually puts it, a year of failures in the true sense of a word. Scandals have rocked the Zupta boat: corruption, fraud, money laundering, looting of state coffers, as we just saw in KwaZulu-Natal in this department, non-service delivery, cadre deployment, and so the list goes on. With all the ructions in the governing party, it's no wonder that the ordinary man on the street gets the short stick, end of the stick. As public reps, we should never forget that we serve the public, and this remains our main priority. Let us start off where we left a year ago in this same debate. For a whole year, the Department of Transport was threatening the public with legal action on e-toll. Fees were not paid, using Gupta consultants to try and pave the way forward on how to receive the outstanding money, which should not have been paid in the first place, since the broad public consultation process was not done as required by the Sanral Act, Promotion of Administrative Justice Act. The DA believes that we start with broad public participation by either scrapping the system as a whole, or that it be funded in a way that taxpayers don't have to bear this heavy load in an already struggling economy, caused predominantly by this ANC-led government of yours, Honourable. Secondly, we are awaiting the promised rail infrastructure with rail networks to take many heavy trucks off our busy roads and provide a functional rail transportation system. But again, unfortunately, all we see is the Transnet parastatal in bed with Prasa and the Gupta family, scandal after scandal. You heard that? Should I remind you, Chair? The 5.3 billion paid to the Gupta company's offshore bank account which amounts to a cost of 10 million rand per locomotive for securing a contract. Then 2.65 billion was paid for trains that did not even fit our railway lines. Makes you think. The Guptas are the main beneficiaries yet again, forcing the taxpayer to cough up. Just before this, the CEO, Mr. Letsualu, decided he deserves a 350% salary increase without the board's consent and charged prasa for it. Not 10%, not 15%, ladies and gentlemen, 350%. This is a corruption cover-up, one scandal after the other. There will now be a serious investigation, so we heard. Why did it not start a year ago when we rang alarm bells in the same August House? You see, too many people are involved, starting with number one. This is the catch-22 situation that the remaining good officials in this department has to put up with. This results in employees having to decide to go with the flow or get out. A concern that needs to be addressed is people transport, which has collapsed in some areas of our country. The Department of Basic Education revealed that approximately 12% of qualifying people in the Northern Cape did not receive transport during the previous financial year. We need to know whether the situation is caused by the uncertainty as to whether the mandates falls within the Department of Education or the Department of Transport. We believe that the national government should make a clear distinction between who does what, as the failure in service is impacting upon scholars. Since 2015, when 12,944 people died on South African roads, this figure has increased to 14,071 in 2016, a 9% increase in road deaths. The reasons for human factor deaths were as follows: 39% jaywalking pedestrians, 18% hit and run crashes, 14% high-speed accidents, 7% overtaking in the face of oncoming traffic, and 6% only related on drugs and fatigue. These statistics show that much more attention should be given to pedestrian behavior and education, as they are the most vulnerable. Further, alcohol abuse and pedestrians not wearing visible color clothing at night plays a large role in this. 409 people died on Northern Cape roads in 2016. These statistics are of a great concern, and a serious intervention is of cardinal importance. Accidents in South Africa causes the country hundreds of millions, and it seems that the departmental programs to prevent fatal accidents are not working. Years ago, we asked the Northern Cape Provincial Department of Roads and Public Works to engage with the Transport Department to prevent accidents at crossings where fatalities often occur near Kimberley. Unfortunately, many lives have since been lost before they now started planning this construction of circles and removing these unsafe crossings on the N12, N8 and R357 at Kimberley. The DA believes that many lives could have been saved if the department acted back then. The upgrade of these intersections by replacing them with circles will significantly improve road safety, as vehicle conflict points are much lesser than at bigger intersections, making it the safest option. Perhaps the National Department of Transport should investigate this phenomenon and apply their minds with Sanral to address this fatal accident statistics we currently encounter. Chairperson, let us be more proactive in preventing the further loss of lives on our roads and seriously begin to act with urgency. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Faba. The Honorable Matebula.
Like Chairperson.
Only between 20 and 30% of South African households own a private car, leaving almost 80% of the population depending on the public transport for their transportation needs. Of those households lucky enough to have someone who works, that person will likely spend up to 40% of their salaries on transport alone. Despite this, the state of public transport in South Africa is in serious ruins. These are some of the problems we think should be tackled to resolve the problem of transportation in this country. The collapsing service of Metro Rail due to decades of poor maintenance on their rolling stock, the high number of unroadworthy buses and taxis leading to large number of recent road crashes, deaths, and serious injuries, poor maintenance of public roads in the country, poor planning and arrogance by government leaders leading up to matters such as unsolved Gauteng Freeway Improvement Project and the forced tolling on road users. By its very nature, transport requires heavy investments in infrastructure, and proper planning of transportation infrastructure, maintenance, and upgrade could unlock opportunities of thousands of jobs. The EFF calls for all serious rethink on how money is spent in designing infrastructures. Because of the important role that public transport plays, different government departments need to work together in aligning and integrating plans and operation. Further, government continue providing subsidies to transport operators on an increased basis. Bus transport, and currently the biggest beneficiary of government subsidies within 48 Metro Rail receive 29 Gautrains trains, 15%, and bus rapid transport, 8%. This benefit transport mainly used by middle-class South Africans. There is no measurement on how these subsidies even benefit users. Taxis, which are used by majority of South Africans to their daily transport, do not receive any subsidies. The continuum marginalization of taxi industry is one of the post-apartheid South African most sinister of action. We call on government to think clearly and seriously about the contrariety of transport to our economic development ideas. As a result, we call on the department to do the following. Invest heavily in connecting the country with a rail network that will be able to transport both people and goods timelessly, safely, and affordable prices. This will take pressure off our road networks and minimize road incidents. Invest in making use of carbon-friendly means of public transport for traveling short distances. This will minimize traffic congestion in city centers and reduce our carbon footprint. Do away with the tolling of national roads, which does not benefit anyone involved. Tax heavily big logistic companies for the use of our roads to transport their goods. This must be done to encourage these companies to use rail transport. Introduce an accident tax to tax SABS and other alcohol-making companies and use this money to strengthen the road accident fund. In the short term, resolve the PRASA board fiasco and ensure that trains are functioning to their maximum capacity. These interventions will help resolve the perennial problem relating to the transport sector in this country. Because of this budget, its ability to address the underlying problem facing public, because of this budget, Hinata ni bandara EFF alana na yona budget 45 yaka shofamba. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Matebula. I shall now call on the MEC for Public Works, Roads and Transport from Mpumalanga, the Honorable S.J. Manzini.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson, Honorable Minister of Transport, Mr. Joe Maswanganyi, honorable members of this House, distinguished guests. I rise on behalf of the African National Congress to the People's Movement and the people of Mpumalanga, the province of the Rising Sun, to add our voice in congratulating Minister Maswanganyi on his maiden budget and policy speech. I have no doubt in my mind that any person of sound mind will agree that the budget and policy speech was honest, visionary, and seek to place transport at the center of South Africa's visionary development agenda. Congratulations once more, Honorable Maswangani. Chairperson, it is now common cause that this year we celebrate the life and times of President Oliver Reginald Tambo, a noble son of the African soil who permanently departed the land of the living in 1993. Standing in front of Tambo's immortal remains, his long-term friend and comrade President Nelson Mandela taught us that Oliver Tambo cannot die as long as we are still alive. Because Oliver Tambo was an embodiment of the struggle against apartheid and the creation of a society wherein the people of South Africa live free of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. The budget and policy speech we are debating here today is testimony that Oliver Tambo cannot die as long as we are alive. The speech does not only place transport at the center of South Africa's economic development and transformation, but act as an agent of change by committing 59 billion to transporting the people of South Africa, most of whom were placed very far from their areas of work and central business district by the apartheid spatial planning. The budget wants to ensure that these commuters arrive at work safe, on time, and do not shoulder the high cost of transport which consumers their low wages as intended by the previous regime. Indeed, Oliver Tambo cannot die as long as we are alive. The people of Mpumalanga also sent me here to affirm that the work of creating the society Oliver Tambo envisaged continues. They see this work daily, and the Moloto Corridor project is one example. They are extremely grateful and excited with the progress the project has registered today, which include the appointment of a contract to commence with construction of Moloto Road. Our people are also waiting with hope and optimism to benefit from the portion of the 12,500 jobs the project will create, and are encouraged by the pronouncement by the minister that the department will unbundle the bus contract in this corridor to widen participation by small, localized, and designated group. Indeed, Tambo cannot die as long as we are alive. Chairperson, I will have been too economic with the truth if I do not inform this House that Minister Maswangani refused to be briefed by officials on the Moloto project in a private boardroom in Pretoria, but instead instructed them to brief him in KwaMhlanga alongside the masses of our people. This briefing affirmed Tambo's vision of creating a government of the people, by the people. We thank you, Minister Maswangani, for this act. But most importantly, it confirms that Oliver Tambo did not die, but continues to live through many deployees of the ANC and the work our government is doing. Indeed, Oliver cannot die as long as we are still alive. I'm pleased to inform this August House that in the briefing Minister Maswangani held in Mpumalanga, the people of Mpumalanga unequivocally stated their readiness to participate in the Moloto development project to service providers and not only as laborers. Their readiness is also bolstered by the social enterprise model, which was developed by the provincial government under the visionary leadership of the Honorable Premier D.D. Mabuza. The model places our people at the center of any development in their surroundings and demand that all service providers doing work in our communities must procure almost all their material in those communities. As we speak, our provincial government is preparing our communities for the economic revolution by making sure that they set up cooperatives and upskill the manufacturers the required material. Indeed, Oliver Tambo cannot die as long as we are still alive. Chairperson, the call by the President for teachers to be in school, in class, on time, teaching for at least 7 hours a day will be futile if learners themselves are not in class on time. That is why the Mpumalanga provincial government
Honorable
views...
MC, please take your seat. Okay. Honorable Faber, why are you on your feet?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. As we were there on oversight, I would like to know if the Honourable Member would take a question.
Okay. Are you ready, Honorable MEC?
I've seen that questions of this House does not make any difference. I won't.
He's not ready. Take your seat, Honorable Faber. Continue, Honorable MEC.
That is why the Mpumalanga government views the provision of scholar transport and Shovagalula program the minister spoke about in his speech as key intervention in creating a conducive environment for learning and teaching.
The Honorable MEC, take your seat, ma. Honorable Isaac, what is the
Chairperson,
problem?
will the Speaker at the podium please take a simple question?
Said she's not ready, okay. Are you ready
Nicola,
for Isaac's question?
If questions were inputs that going to make our people's lives better,
She's
but
not
these
ready.
questions
Please,
in
let's
this
not
house
disturb
does
her.
not assist.
Continue, Honorable MEC.
That is why the Mpumalanga provincial government views the provision of scholar transport
Order,
and the
honorable
Shovagalula
members.
programs the
Honorable
minister spoke
Isaac,
about.
order. Honorable Mukwele, please order. Allow the Honorable MEC to continue with the speech. Honorable Isaac.
Chairperson, I am addressing you with due respect.
You are addressing me?
If I may address you.
Oh, Honorable Isaac, please take your seat. Don't be out
Honorable
of
Chair,
order.
may I address you, please?
Take your seat, Honorable Isaac.
I need to address you, Chief Chairperson.
You can't. Take your seat.
But
You
Chair- but
you
Chair-
were disturbing the speaker. That is
But
why
I need to
called-
address you on a point of order.
Honorable
Chairperson.
Isaac, take your seat.
Chairperson, but if the Speaker at the podium says that the questions of this House is irrelevant and doesn't make a difference to the country, then I must ask you with absolute respect, Chairperson, what is the Speaker doing in this House?
Honorable Isaac, the speaker is not ready for your question. Continue, Honorable MEC.
Thank you
Continue
very
with the
much,
speech.
Chairperson.
Oh, Honorable MEC, take your seat.
Okay.
Chief Whip.
No, Chair, Rule 36 of this House cautions against irrelevance and repetition. So I request you for a decorum of the House to allow the member to present without interruption. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I am sure the Honorable Isaac remember the rule of the House. Continue, Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Chair. That is why the Mpumalanga provincial government views the provision of scholar transport and Shovagalula program the minister spoke about in his speech as key interventions in creating an conducive environment for the learning and teaching. In the previous financial year, Mpumalanga received 450 bicycles from the National Department of Transport and procured 6,000 bicycles from its own coffers. This was done to honor the commitment we made to our people, and no child shall be denied an opportunity to learn. We dare not forget that it was President Oliver Tambo who gave us the burden to competently look after our children when he said, I open quote, "The children of any nation are its future, a country, a movement, and a person that does not value its youth and children does not deserve its future." Indeed, Oliver Tambo cannot die as long as we are alive. Chairperson, we cannot ignore the importance of a user-friendly, safe, and efficient road network in the creation of Tambo's envisioned society, which is about an economy that is growing and all its citizens sharing in that growing economy. It is now an established fact that sound road infrastructure is a cornerstone for economic growth and development. That is precisely the reason why our provincial government support the provision of provincial road maintenance grant to implement preventative, routine, and emergency maintenance on the provincial road network. In the case of Mpumalanga, the PRMG includes special funding that was made available since April 2011 to rehabilitate and maintain the coal hole road network. Despite this capital injection, the demand for rehabilitation remains high across the Garsibande and Kangala regions. We also need to protect our investment in the provincial transportation network through a commitment to effective maintenance. To achieve this, we depend on the provincial road maintenance grant to implement preventative, routine, and emergency maintenance of the provincial road network. However, there is a growing need to introduce some flexibility on the PRMG, which will increase government's ability to provide an efficient, competitive, and responsive economic infrastructure. Chairperson, my proposal for flexibility on the PRMG includes allowing provinces to maintain or construct roads in rural areas, wherein there is a dire need for the transport infrastructure, not only to connect villages, but also to attract investment and develop rural economies. I'm certain that—
Honorable MEC, let me call the Honorable Faber to order. You know you cannot drown the speaker, Honorable Faber. Please, Take your seat, Honorable Faber.
Chairperson, on a point of order.
What is the point of order? Take your seat, Honorable.
Chairperson, when we did parliamentary oversight, we had to dodge and dive.
Honorable Faber, that is not a point of order, Honorable Faber. That is a point of debate and you can't do that. Continue, Honorable Emisi.
Thank you, Chair. I'm certain that the thought is worth entertaining by both National Treasury and the Department of Transport. Indeed, Oliver Tambo cannot die as long as we are still alive. The South Africa, Oliver Tambo committed his life to has created a demand for integrated transport system, democratic changes and minor spatial changes in spatial development, mainly due to rural-urban drift, have resulted in unanticipated changes in mobility patterns, which ultimately affect public transport usage. As a result, government needs to increase significantly its investment in building a renewing transport infrastructure in order to meet the increasing demand for transport, as well as provide reliable, safe and affordable public transport system. That is why the Mpumalanga provincial government welcomes with glee.
Honorable Mukwele, your style will never be accepted in this house. You can't clap your hands while they... Thank you very much. Please.
The inclusion of the city of Mbombela amongst the new 6 cities that are expected to run operations of the integrated public transport network. We have no doubt that this massive investment in bus infrastructure will change the completion of the city of Mbombela, and our people will move from point A to B with ease. Indeed, Oliver Tambo cannot die as long as we are still alive. Chairperson, the budget and policy speech by Honorable Minister emphasizes the importance of sound rail network in creating this prosperous society Oliver Tambo envisaged, and confirms that 19 billion to improving our rail network. This is an important investment which we must support and invest time in learning from Europe and some Asian countries wherein trains play an important role in their development. That is why, as Mpumalanga provincial government, we are actively engaged in the endeavor to expand the freight network through Swaziland Railway and Transnet. We have agreed to develop 146 kilometers railway line between Lotte in Mpumalanga and Sitvogodvo in Swaziland, as well as upgrading adjacent network in both countries. The key objective of the project are to enhance regional integration and provide viable connection for rail freight from Western Swaziland to markets in South Africa. There are many other opportunities to develop rail transport for commuters across the province and create the prosperous society Oliver Tambo lived for. Indeed, Oliver Tambo cannot die for as long as we are still alive.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Your time has expired. The Honorable Member Kaula. Order, honorable members. Continue with your speech. Order, Honorable Mukwele, order. Honorable members, please. Honorable members, Honorable MEC, allow the Honorable. That is why I'm calling her to order. The Honorable Kaula wants to continue with the speech. Honorable Mukwele, allow the Honorable Kaula to start debating. Over to you, Honorable Kaula.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister, the citizens of South Africa and their visitors continue to suffer the ravages of recklessness on the roads. The increasing number of road fatalities is of grave concern to the IFP. This is so because these fatalities are due to avoidable causes. This calls for the Department of Transport and its sister departments to apply stricter measures in order to try and secure the safety of road users in our country. One has to admit that the major role players in ensuring safe road usage are the road users themselves. It is a pity that South Africans have not yet fully internalized the culture of protecting one another on the road to the extent necessary for reducing road carnages drastically. However, the Department of Transport also has a role to play through strictly enforcing the rules on the roads. This will not be easily achievable in a situation where some traffic officers get involved in accepting bribes on the roads for the wrongs committed by motorists. This will not be easily achievable either in a situation where the visibility of traffic officers on the roads is not to the maximum. The IFP calls upon the new Minister of Transport and his team to speedily attend to these deficiencies. Recently, in the south coast of KwaZulu-Natal in Uku district, several lives have been lost on our roads due to some of these deficiencies. About 9 people from Tuvugezini Zingolweni lost their lives when a bakkie collided with a truck on the road between Harding and Poshepstein. In the following week, 3 more people lost their lives when a truck carrying bricks collided with a bakkie in Umzumbe River on the road between Hippadine and Poshepstein. Honorable Minister, the IFP has been repeatedly calling upon your predecessor to kickstart the process of moving heavy load away from the roads and back to rail. I even reminded the Honorable Minister that there used to be a rail to carry timber between Harding and Poshepstein, between Ixopo and Pagrin and other areas. These used to be of a great relief to the overburdening of our roads with heavy load. The allegations of price inflation in the tender between PRASA and the American and Chinese companies is a serious matter. The allegations suggest that funds amounting to more than 5 billion were wrongfully paid to by the country in order for some self-centered authorities in our country to pocket South Africa's taxpayers' money for themselves. The IFP hopes that you will uncover wrongdoing and get to the rock bottom of these allegations. We also hope that you will work with all relevant authorities in order to get the culprits to account for whatever wrong that has been committed. In a question to the former Minister of Transport about how much has so far been spent on taxi recapitalization per province, the response suggests that these amounts have been paid to taxi owners in the different provinces in our country. Eastern Cape, 467 million. Free State, 292 million. Gauteng, 870 million. KwaZulu-Natal, 460 million. Limpopo, 429 million. Mpumalanga, 439 million. Northern Cape, 36 million. Northwest, 418 million. Western Cape, 439 million. Total, 3.9 billion so far. This raises eyebrows. Has all this money really been paid to taxi owners, or perhaps some of it has gone to the wrong pockets of some rogue authorities? Honorable Minister, the IFP requests for a forensic audit on this spending. The taxi industry is the industry which contributes a lot to the economic development of the country and must be given the necessary attention that it deserves. South Africans in Gauteng province and other road users through Gauteng have been subjected to a highly inconsiderate taxing through the e-tolls on the Gauteng roads. The IFP calls upon the minister to still consider the grievances of the people and review the status of the e-tolls in Gauteng. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member Kaula. The Honorable Grant. Honorable Mukwele.
Before he can speak, Chair, with due respect.
Okay, take a seat, Honorable Grant. What do you want to say, Honorable Member?
I'm just wondering, where is Honorable Ntebe?
The Honorable Mukwele, you are out of order.
But he's my chief whip,
Please
and
take
I
your
don't
seat.
know where
Take
he
your seat,
is.
Honorable Member. Continue, Honorable Grant.
Honourable Chair, Honourable Minister of Transport, Honourable Members and Office Bearers, delegates from provinces, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honour for me to represent the Western Cape Provincial Parliament today in the NCOP during Budget Vote 35 Transport. We note the budget tabled by the Honourable Minister. In particular, we note and support the Honourable Minister's core pillars underpinning this budget. 1, transforming and improving the lives of our people. 2, improving transport systems and operations by finalizing outstanding policies, strategies, and legislation. 3, creating jobs through transport operations and capital investment. 4, continuously improving transport safety and security. And finally, the strong commitment to quality public transport infrastructure and services. The Western Cape Government acknowledges the Honourable Minister's continued focus on and commitment to integrated public transport network approach, primarily funded by national government through the Public Transport Network grant. Like the Honourable Minister, we believe that the ability to provide public transport that is accessible, affordable, safe, reliable and convenient requires an integrated
public transport network approach that invests in public transport infrastructure and that provides sufficient subsidy support to operations to enable the service to be truly accessible to all users, particularly the poor and the marginalized. We look forward to seeing the National Department's public transport subsidy policy in this regard. We also support the continued focus on and development of integrated public transport planning. We emphasize that such integrated planning must consider reforms in the urban landscape and changes to our infrastructure planning approaches to support the development of quality public transport over the use of private vehicles. I wish to thank the Honourable Minister for singling out the IPTN operational cities. We are proud that both cities receiving PTNG funding in the Western Cape, Cape Town and George, are operational and together provide close on 90,000 of the total 125,000 average daily passenger trips currently provided by the operating cities. Western Cape Government reaffirms its commitment to continuing to use the national grant funding to maximum effect, and will continue to lead the way in providing high quality and sustainable public transport services. We note the commitment by the Honourable Minister that 6 additional cities will be operational in the current financial year. Given this, we highlight 2 areas of concern. Firstly, the need for greater predictability and security in the funding provided by the PTNG, noting the long-term nature of public transport investment programs and operations. And secondly, the National Cabinet approved reduction in the grant envelope and the resultant impact on the scale and speed of rollout of infrastructure and services. We recognize the limitations that the Honourable Minister is operating under, but request that mechanisms be provided to ensure that greater certainty be provided to cities within the MTEF period and beyond. Efficient long-term planning for public transport investment requires funding linked to a secure income stream that extends beyond the MTEF. We also remain concerned about the level of funding that is devoted to public transport and are very disturbed by the shrinking funding envelope already ravaged by inflation. Like the Honourable Minister, we recognise the important gap that the minibus taxi industry fills in the existing public transport network. This approach has been acknowledged in our IPTN interventions in Cape Town and George. In fact, in George, the operating company is composed 100% of former minibus taxi operators. The Western Cape Department of Transport and Public Works is providing the operating support to the services provided in George from its baseline budget. We are therefore significantly subsidizing the commuter through this baseline allocation. It's worth noting that a recent Financial and Fiscal Commission report highlighted that in South Africa, approximately 54 billion rand is spent annually on public transport operations, and that over 30 billion of this amount comes from fare revenues paid by public transport users. This profiles the challenge that our commuters face, where up to 40% of household income is being spent on public transport by some of our poorest commuters. This statistic is the inverse of the international benchmark, which sees international government operating subsidies of around 60%. In South Africa, the government operational subsidy is around 30 to 40%. To achieve the international benchmarks for public transport subsidization will require a doubling in the national subsidy provided to road-based public transport and rail operations. While we are aware of the economic circumstances which result in the opposite trend within the budget currently tabled by the Honourable Minister, we remain very critical of the many underlying reasons for the current slump in the country's economy. It is virtually impossible to achieve appropriate service budgets within a badly managed economy where international confidence is plummeting, as a result of poor political decisions. The economy of the Western Cape is also negatively influenced by poor or inefficient service flowing from the overall responsibilities of the Minister's Department. Allow me to take the opportunity to highlight only two examples. Firstly, the importance of tourism to the Western Cape economy is widely recognized. In order to access tourist attractions, visitors have to travel around the province, and many need to be transported by tourism operators. Quite rightly, for reasons of quality and safety, these operators have to be accredited and licensed. These processes have worked efficiently over many years on a provincial basis, but since August 2016 have been taken up, as the law allows for, by the NPTR in Pretoria. Unfortunately, the quality of the service provided by the NPTR has been spectacularly bad. Return times are ignored, often by more than 100%. Documents are lost and have to be resubmitted. Calls and emails go unanswered. In some cases, operators have lost their businesses as a result. Were it not for the ongoing intervention of my department, many more operators would, in fact, have done so. My appeal to the Honourable Minister is to ensure that the NPTR has the required capacity and commitment to carry out its statutory duties. Economic activity needs to be encouraged, not hampered in this way. Alternatively, this function should be delegated back to the Western Cape. Secondly, we note the Honourable Minister's commitment to rail improvement through investments in rail infrastructure and rolling stock, but are appalled at the extent to which these commitments are caught up in allegations of massive fraud and managerial inefficiencies. We reiterate our urgent need for new passenger rolling stock and rail infrastructure in the Western Cape, and are happy to partner you in that regard. While we do not believe that we are the only province in this position, there's a deep concern about the state of rail in the Western Cape. All indications are that the commuter rail service is in a state of collapse, and that the impact on commuters on roads and on traffic congestion and on the alternative services, namely bus and minibuses, is extreme. While rail should be the cornerstone of public transport in the city of Cape Town and the broader region, we are seeing that the cornerstone is being undermined and nearing total collapse. Accordingly, Honourable Members, we urge the Honourable Minister to address the significant challenges faced in the commuter rail sector, from safety and security to improved operations, infrastructure and systems. This includes the revitalization of the institutional structures, Metro Rail, PRASA and the PRASA Board. My department has provided assistance to Metro Rail in Cape Town wherever possible. The return and improved service for the more than 600,000 dependent commuters has been insignificant given the years of neglect and the lack of direction and commitment from national government since 1994.
Thank you very much. Your time is expired. The Honourable Masamula, Chairperson of the Committee on Transport, Safety and Security from Limpopo Legislature.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the session. Honourable Minister Kachani Joe Maswanganyi, Honourable MECs from provinces and members of the House, comrades and colleagues, fellow South Africans. We are meeting here today to debate the appropriation bill of the Department of Transport, few days after the people of Lesotho have held successful parliamentary elections and inaugurated their Prime Minister. Through that process, they have demonstrated that the historical significance of a social revolution does not lie in the degree of violence, but in its political and social consequences as a premise for social transformation. As we congratulate them, Honourable Chairperson, we believe that the historical event they have just concluded would have a wide and lasting impact as they advance an agenda for social change on a grand scale. Undoubtedly, therefore, this positive development will lead to substantial changes from the challenged systems and crises displayed before the elections through political actions aimed at stabilizing the political systems of their country.
Honorable Masamula, please take your seat. Honorable Makwebo, why are you standing?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I appreciate it. Chairperson, I'm standing on a point of order because I am getting confused now because look, we have a responsibility, the House has to follow the speaker's list. I don't see whether Masamula was the MEC from Mpumalanga or Masamula now is this Masamula, and I don't see any the speaker who is now delivering his debate in the speaker's list before us.
The Honorable Makwebo, we all have the speaker's list. If you don't have it at hand, it is in the...
But she is not here. The gentleman speaking now is not in the speaker's list before us.
Okay, thank you very much. They have helped you with the speaker's list.
If it was amended, it was never conveyed to us, Chairperson, which is against the rules.
Oh, okay. Well, the list that I have has got the Honorable Masamula, who is on the podium. Continue, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Chairperson. Given that their country was immersed in a set of political and social contradictions too complex
Honorable
for easy
Masamula.
adjustments.
Honorable Masamula, please take your seat. Honorable Chabangu, why are you standing?
The point of order.
What is the point of order?
In fact, what Honorable Vos is trying to say is that the Honorable MEC from Mpumalanga is not on the list. Therefore, how did she, why was she given a platform without being in the list? Now there comes Honorable.
Okay, let me address you. Let me address you, Honorable Chabangu. Actually, you are not supposed to repeat. I see you, Honorable Chief Whip. Let me respond to him first. You are not supposed to repeat what the Honorable Magwebo has said because we have ruled on the matter. And the Honorable MEC is on the list. Even the Honorable Masamula, who is on the podium, is now on the list. Okay, let me request the lady to help us then with the correct list. And my worry is, why are you standing now? Because the Honorable MEC was here debating. You are very late. Honorable Chief Whip.
I think the list was revised based on confirmation. And the limitation is only that the revised list has not reached out to all members. So for that, I think we can take apology. Yes, we can apologize for that. But I think the member, the Honorable MEC, is on the list. So thanks.
Thank you very much for the apology, Chief Whip. Okay, let's close the matter and move on with our speakers list. The Chief Whip has apologized. Continue, Honorable Masamula.
Given that their country was immersed in a set of political and social contradictions too complex for its adjustments, and that occurred because of dislocations of thoughts and endeavors, of unbending postures which necessitated political mediation, and through that process, equilibrating mechanism of balloting occurred, which addressed tempestuous political situations and have addressed and ushered in conditions of hope. Chairperson, the political parties in that country which netted electoral capital would have to ensure perspectives of interacting forces and essence of stimuli between and amongst themselves so that they could form a durable government in the interest of the Basotho people and functional systems for domestic essence and external influence. Honorable Chairperson, transport is essential in the social and economic life of society and plays a transformative role in the lives of the people. Its effectiveness should be ensured at all times, driven by the necessary systems that are profound for policy successes and delivery of quality services. It remains a catalyst for development and redress of spatial distortions created by the apartheid government. Honorable Chairperson, transport infrastructure and systems in our country are globally competitive to international standards and have placed our country to continue demonstrating its capacities to roll out massive infrastructure programs on roads, rail, ship, freight, and aircrafts. Indeed, these suites of services account for a commitment to serve our people and better conditions of their lives. Given that all the projects that have been implemented continues to have massive opportunities related to thereof, notwithstanding, Honorable Chairperson, the backlogs that you are tackling based on collaborative planning and approaches between provinces and as well as the national department. Indeed, transport infrastructure serves as the main links between us and places of socio-economic activities, the region and the entire continent, thus moving volumes of goods for social and economic use. In this regard, the African National Congress has been able to provide strategic policy direction and framework to ensure unbiased provision of transport services. Honorable Chairperson, intermodal facilities and systems have been provided necessarily for the conurbations network and settlements throughout the country and our province in particular. This is done to ensure strong, diverse, efficient, and sustainable transport services. Management of transport infrastructure and maintenance of the roads are critical elements of the strategy, and in this regard, in the province, through Road Agency Limpopo, we continue to ensure that provincial roads networks is usable, and further transport infrastructure plans have been elaborated that articulate the directions we are taking together with our people. With regard to improving the conditions of our roads, we are looking forward to the train in Skukuneland and the rail between Lephalale and Dubatse as the mineral hosting zones of our country and our province in particular. Understandably, therefore, Chairperson, working together with the National Department, we will continue to respond to areas of need as we push back the frontiers of development challenges. The Department of Transport in the province, Honorable Chairperson, has introduced a reliable electronic vehicle trip management system that has covered 450 buses for accurate records required for proper spending relating to bus subsidies. And the remaining fleet will be fitted in the short to medium term given the budgetary allocations required, and probably this budget will come very handy in this regard. Secondly, Chairperson, the department has contracted some driving schools to offer driving lessons to selected learners in the schools across the province as a pilot which will be rolled out to many schools in the following financial years, resources permitting. Chairperson, road carnages are a worrying phenomenon given the increase in some areas despite the differentiated reduction successes. This happens in spite of serious efforts made, and therefore we should continue to call upon motorists to be patient on our roads and observe traffic rules, because many lives have been cut short due to negligence and circumstances that could be avoided. As such, Honorable Chairperson, as such human behavior is a major challenge, and hence the need for aggressive efforts coupled with continuous law enforcement to change the situation. And that could be achieved working together with social formations in society. As such, the provincial department is recruiting 250 traffic officers who will, after the completion of their training, get deployed throughout the province to increase traffic policing visibility. Honorable Chairperson, the leadership of the taxi industry remains and continues to be an important organ of transport services, and its centrality cannot be over-accentuated. Hence, the need for continuous cooperative efforts given the critical dynamics associated with the industry. Therefore, stability and harmony in working relations between and amongst taxi associations is essential, facilitated and managed by the department through legal platforms created, which often need resources for capacity and discharging of responsibilities. In this regard, the Taxi Council and the overarching structure continues to get the necessary attention, and obviously through this budget, resources will be appropriated based on their plans in provinces and nationally for the success and prosperity of the industry. Honorable Chairperson of the House, sleaze continues to remain a challenge that want to become a permanent feature of the public service and administration. As a province, we have put systems in place to fight this scourge and free the administration from this challenge and its probable effects of diverting resources into meaningless activities. Honorable Chairperson, we appreciate the National White Paper on Civil Aviation that recognizes cooperative governance and management of airports infrastructure as the necessary stimulant contributing factor to the socio-economic development of the country. Equally, as a province, we're working very hard to improve the infrastructure systems and governance at Gateway Airport Authority Limited in Polokwane so that we could turn it into a center of economic activity and excellence. We're looking forward to work with the National Department in this regard and better the conditions of our people. Equally important, we're looking forward to a sustained and effective scholar transport that will make it possible for our people to crisscross the length and breadth of the province with ease for quality education to our citizens. With this, we're supporting this budget.
Re a leboga go betse, ke dumela gore Minister o go kwele. I shall now call on the Honorable Magwebu.
Honorable Chairperson, members and fellow South Africans, the Minister, when he came to the podium and presented and outlined his vision and the mission and what he seeks to achieve and the plans that are put in place, all I could do, I marveled, Minister. But I was caught back and I began to think, how are you going to do this? Because you have a problem. You know, Minister, with due respect, words are cheap. It must be backed by action. The rubber must meet the road. Now the question is, with all this beautiful vision and what you want to do, how are you going to do that? Because you do not have a DG. The Director General of the Department of Transport has been suspended last year already. And 6 months down the line, if not more, you don't have a DG. You've got an acting DG. And this DG is sitting at home, sipping cappuccino, having muffins. And this is the problem we have. Every rand, every cent must count in South Africa, and it must be held accountable. It cannot be accepted that, you're taking too long. You need to expedite this. You are a minister that has been appointed through the, midnight cabinet crisis or cabinet reshuffle. Now, you need to be a leader, and it has been said, and some people are saying, leaders lead and they set the tone. As a minister, you must always realize, and I'm sure you appreciate this, another saying I'll help you with again, is that leaders, if you want to be a leader, there's no time for niceties. You must make difficult decisions. If you want to be a leader, then you must lead. Because if you want to be a nice person, then you are not a leader. You cannot be a leader. You must go and sell ice cream. Secondly, Minister, again, 2015, 2016, I want to take you back to your department. Your department under administration underspent 2015-2016 annual budget. This is the findings of the AGM. 1.3 million of funds were underspent under the program administration. They were shifted across the programs to cover expenditures on transport for state funerals. Program number 4, road transport. Your department overspent 121 million on electronic national traffic information system, that is eNaTIS, due to traveling of your staff and overspending on Sihamba Songe project was also a problem. Civil aviation, your department again underspent on various projects and overspent on operational expenditure. Due to what? Due to traveling. Honorable Chairperson, again, this is typical of the department, how it handles its own funds. Program number 6, quickly, maritime transport. Your department overspent its budget by a whooping 36.6 million again. Irregular expenditure amounted to 123 million. Notwithstanding all of this, and I again ask, Prasa, we had Colin, we've got another Colin Lenswale now. You have a problem, Minister. The first one that you have, Colin Muntane, he was again dismissed. Now, Colin Lenswale, who has just been released or fired by the board, you had a problem there. Again, what he did, he increased the money, salary hike to benefit himself. Then we have a problem.
We must expedite, there must be accountability, there must be a report that tells us if there's money to be recovered, it must be recovered quickly. Every cent, it must be recovered with interest. This matter cannot be left open and hanging. You need to lead from the front, you need to set the tone that public representatives and official civil servants will be held accountable. It cannot be that the state-owned entities, they become the milking cows or the cash cows for the employees. And lastly, I want to go back to the honorable members quickly. Honorable Khai and Honorable Manzini, I cannot agree with you more. When you quoted the Reginald and the legend, Tata Oliver Tambo, he comes from home. That is my home. And he is a legend, and he's from the home of the legends. But let me tell you something. I have a problem because everything that he stood for, the ANC has destroyed. Everything that Oliver Tambo stood for, the ANC has destroyed. Here is the question then. What would Tata Oliver Tambo say if he were to show up in this room and see the South Africa it has become under the ANC, where we have a president that is corrupt or have corrupt relationships, where we have the ANC that has dragged this country to junk status? What would Oliver Tambo say where he were to show up and see the country and the nation we have become, where we have been pushed into recession by the ANC? What will Oliver Tambo say if we were to see the ANC that is pushing the race card? This is the problem that we have.
Order, Honorable Member, take your seat. The Honorable Chief Whip.
Honorable Chair, the Honorable Member is making a serious allegation against the sitting president of the country, who is never found guilty.
Order, Honorable Members. Order. Honorable Isaac. Honorable Chetty, please allow the Honorable Chief Whip to say what he wants to say.
Honorable Chair.
Order.
Honorable Member is making a statement of fact on matters that have not served before the courts against the President. So may you rule, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip. Let me ask for an advice. I'll come back to your point of order. Honorable Nyambe.
I just want to ask a simple question about Honorable Zil, to ask the member. If it's ready to take
Okay,
a simple
let's check
question
if
from
ever
you.
he will have time to listen to your question. Honorable Makwebo, the Honorable Member wants to know if ever you can take his question.
He must talk to Honorable Mutimunya. I asked him to give me 2
He
minutes.
is
I have
not
got 5.
ready.
I'm not taking
Okay,
a question.
continue,
I'm not taking a
continue.
question. Honorable Manzini, the select committee went to Mpumalanga. I will not be condescending. I respect the office you hold, and I respect the South Africans, despite the tone we have used in this house. But members of parliament cannot lie. When they were there, they were working next to the road. The road was not used. Through you, Chairperson. Through you, Chairperson. Through you, Chairperson. So we stand by the fact that it is incorrect. I thank you, Chairperson. Ngiyabulela.
Listen to me. No.
Ngiyabulela. Thank you, Chairperson.
Listen to me. Please don't leave. I have asked for an advice. The Honorable President was not found guilty of corruption. So you are out of order and your time is expired.
Chairperson,
you can take your
corrupt relationships. There is a decided case. There is a decided case,
Your time is
Chairperson.
expired, Honorable
Shabir Sheikh
Member.
case. I stand by what I said,
Honorable
Chairperson.
Member,
I will
was
not
just
withdraw.
Giving a ruling. I was just giving a ruling. I did not say you withdraw. I was ruling on the matter. Let me now call on the Honorable Timye. Honorable Mukwele, the Honorable Member is no more on the podium. Okay. Honorable Mukwele. Honorable Mukwele. Honorable Mtimyo, please take your seat. Honorable Mukwele, why are you standing, ma?
No, I just want to make it clear to the House that the relationship
Honorable
that
member,
Mr.
honorable
Zuma
member,
had
honorable member,
with her personal
member, honorable member, you know you cannot
the
debate you cannot debate from the floor. Honorable member, you are out of order. You are out of order. You cannot debate from the floor. You cannot debate from the floor, honorable member. Take your seat, please. Continue, Honorable Mtimye.
Chairperson, thank you very much. If
Honorable Mukwele has got a crush on me. Thank you very much. I am happily married.
Ai, Honorable Mtuminyo wa Khua wa tseba. Yeah, no, Honorable Mtuminyo wa Khua. Honorable Mokwele, dula fast Mtuminyo. Dula fast Mtuminyo. Dula fast.
Honorable Chair.
Yeah.
On a very serious note, I'm a married woman to Mr. Franz Mabote Mokwele. I will never be attracted to him. I will never.
The Honorable Mtimye, please, Honorable Mtimye, Honorable Mokwele made it clear that she is a woman for another husband. Please withdraw your words.
I withdraw, Honorable
Thank you.
Chair. Thank
Honorable
you.
Mukwele, Honorable Mukwele, are you listening? Thank you very much. He has withdrawn.
And sincerely apologize.
Thank you very, very much. Continue, Honorable Mtimye.
Honorable House Chair, in the early 80s when I was initiated in the underground cells of the ANC, under what was then named called the Pitan Chabeling Unit, I was taught one very important thing around patriotism, which as a character of a leader. He defines patriotism as a leader who loves, defends, and works for his country. And later in my political life, I then read material that was developed by one important writer and famous one, Gramsci. And again, came across this particular point or word, patriotism. And he defines it exactly the same as Comrade Parapara of the Pitan Chabeling Unit would have defined it. I have listened carefully to many speakers this afternoon. There's one speaker I want to single out from the opposition benches deliberately, Honorable Grant. I think he's an honest leader who characterizes a leader of the future in this country, even if he sits in the opposition benches. Then Honorable Faba make reference to a number of allegations and present them as though they were fact. And that stops short of being a leader that Gramsci made reference to. Can I refer to a letter, Honorable House Chair, in response to these allegations and the Gupta leaks that are made day in and day out? This letter was published in the Mail and Guardian of May 25, 2009. And this was a letter written, authored by Madam Honorable Helen Zille. I want to read it for the record. It says, Mr. Atul Gupta, Managing Director, Sahara Computers Pty Ltd. Dear Mr. Gupta, thank you so much for your generous donation to the Democratic Alliance. Your financial contribution helped us to achieve our 3 key objectives in the recent election: keeping the ANC below the 2/3 majority, significantly consolidating our position as the ethical opposition of Parliament.
Order. Honorable Mtimye, please hold it there. Take your seat. Take your seat. Honorable Faba, why are you on your feet? Order. Honorable Mukwele, the honorable member is on the floor. Honorable Faba.
I would like to know if this honorable member would take a question from me.
Okay,
since
are you
he's
ready to
making
take Honorable
allegations.
Faba's question?
Can I conclude the letter? I will take the question.
I want
Okay,
you to take it.
he's not yet ready.
And this is the
Continue.
letter that was written by Honorable Zille after a 200,000 was received from the Gupta family to the Democratic Alliance. And I continue, therefore, Honorable House Chair. Our support increased dramatically from the 2004 election.
Honorable Mtimye, before you continue, sir, take your seat. The Honorable Engelbrecht.
Raising on a point of order, Madam Chair.
What is the point of order?
If the ANC will also declare all their donations.
Honorable member, you're out of order. You know you're debating from the floor. You can't do that. Continue, Honorable Mtimye.
Our support increased dramatically from the 2004 election. Then we won 12.37% of the national vote, or nearly 3 million votes. This means that the DA grew by 34%. You helped us to achieve this historic milestone. Thank you for your support. Thank you for standing up for
Order.
strong
Honorable Mtimnye.
opposition and positive
Honorable
alternative.
Mtimnye. Honorable Mtimnye, Honorable Isaac is standing. Why Honorable Isaac?
Chairperson, budget vote number 35, transport. I just check with you, Chairperson, Lomfana.
Honorable Dlamini.
Budget vote la of debate.
Honorable Dlamini, please behave.
All right, never mind, Chairperson.
Honorable
Will
Isaac,
this- will this-
Honorable Isaac,
Will
Honorable
the
Isaac,
distinguished speaker take a
Honorable
question?
Isaac, that is not a point of order. You are totally out of order. Please
Budget
take your
vote
seat.
number 35,
Take your
transport.
seat. Take your seat, Honorable Isaac. Honorable Isaac, take your seat. Honorable Isaac, do you want to go out?
I want to ask him a question.
Do you want to leave the house?
Just now.
Please take your seat.
But
Take your seat, Honorable Isaac.
But you know I'll sit down.
Honorable Isaac, take your seat. Okay, Honorable Nyambi, let me recognize the Honorable member first. I'll come to you. Honorable Mutlashupi.
No, thanks, Honorable Chairperson. Is it parliamentary for Honorable Esak to refer to the Honorable member like Lomfan?
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Mutlashupin. It is not parliamentary. Can I request the Honorable Isaac to stand up and withdraw? Because he is not Mfana. He is the Honorable Mtimnye.
Umzala wami ngiyawithdraw, serious.
Thank you very much. Continue, Honorable
Hayi,
Mtimnye.
ngiyayibongela wemzala. And it continues, Honorable House Chair, to say thank you for your support, thank you for standing up for strong opposition and positive alternative. Thank you for contributing to the real change in South Africa. Yours sincerely, Helen Zille, leader of the Democratic Alliance. Now, this was a letter written and signed by the leader then of the Democratic Alliance to Atul Gupta of the Guptas. And continue shouting, captured, captured. And we continue delivering and delivering. Honorable House Chair, at the ANC 53rd National Conference in Mangaung in 2012, it was resolved that we are boldly entering the second phase of the transition from apartheid, colonialism to national democratic society.
Honorable Mtimnye, you can't do that. The Honorable Chabangul, why are you standing?
I would like to know that a member will take a question because we had
But earlier on he said he's not ready. Are you ready now, Honorable?
No, don't need him.
Can I finish my speech, Chair?
He's not ready. He is not ready. Please take your seat.
But you are leading.
Yes, I'm leading. It's what I'm doing. It's what I'm doing.
So this phase will be characterized by decisive action to effect economic transformation and democratization project consolidation, critical both to improve the quality of life of all South Africans and to promote nation building and social cohesion. The 53rd Conference of the ANC also resolved to give effect to the National Development Plan, the New Growth Path, and the Industrial Policy Action Plan with the aim of stimulating growth, employment, and reindustrialization of South African economy. Mindful of the fourth, and this was mindful of the fourth industrial revolution.
Order. Honorable Mokwele.
I want to listen, and this honorable member, Mama Kathy, is making noise. Please, can you tell her to shut up?
Honorable Mokwele.
Please, I want to listen
Honorable
to my
Mokwele.
honorable George Mutimunyi.
Honorable Mokwele, I know you are a leader, ma. Can you please just be truthful for once? Because you, Honorable Matebula, and the Honorable Damin are doing the same thing. No, you can't. And you are drowning the speaker. Please, three ladies behave, honorable members.
And if she can cut the "my" in the beginning of my honorable George Mtimunye, because I'm not hers, I belong to another woman. So, Honorable House Chair, The transport plays a significant role in the social and economic development of any
Mtimnye.
country.
Honorable Mtimnye, please take your seat. Honorable Isaac,
Chairperson, just on a point of clarity, with due respect to the House.
what is the
Is
point
this the
of
same
clarity?
George Mutimunia that was charged in October last year for corruption? That's what it says on FIN 24. George Mutimunia was charged for
The
corruption.
Honorable
26,000
Isaac,
rand.
Honorable Isaac, please don't confuse us, don't confuse the country,
Just
don't
want to check,
confuse
is
the
this George
House.
Mutimunia
You
the
know,
same
if
man?
ever you want to ask a question, you will seek clarity first.
I'm seeking clarity, ma'am.
Take your seat. You were supposed to ask if ever he's ready to take the question.
And I'm not that George
And you did
Mutimunya.
not.
So, Honorable House Chair, transport plays a significant role in the social economic development of any country, and the government has recognized transport as one of the 5 main priority areas for socio-economic development. The effectiveness of the role played by transport is to a large extent dictated by the soundness of transport policy and the strategies utilized in implementing the policy. The implementation of the road accident benefit scheme policy will gain momentum in the short to medium term, thus paving the way for the transformation of the road accident fund. The fund is through RAPs that the department will reach higher volumes of victims of road accidents and in shorter time, with a policy shift from a fault-based compensation system to a no-fault basis. The Road Accident Fund reaffirmed its commitment to being the country's social security safety net that covers and consoles those tragically maimed on South African roads. RAF continues to deliver services to many road users in a tough operating climate where legalistic hurdles have hindered operational achievements. The excellent performance of RAF justifies our call for the implementation of the no-fault need-based scheme. The Road Accident Fund Benefit Scheme performance is indicative of our belief that we can do without a middleman when rendering services and support to victims of car crashes when they need help. And this, Honorable House Chair, is about rooting out the middlemen in the unscrupulous law firms that has been robbing our people through the Road Accident Fund claims. In the airport company South Africa network, in the improvement of public transport system, the airport company South Africa network has become vital center and catalytic for growth, for economic growth. And furthermore, they are all becoming vital centers and catalytic for economic growth, as well as access hubs for the rest of the world. They are being transformed into multifaceted world-class global gateways for travel, trade, and commerce. As a result, business opportunities abound, particularly in property, retail, and advertising. The safety, security, and quality of services of some modes of transport are currently unacceptable, Honorable Minister, we must say. The government is, however, committed to a concentrated and integrated effort to bring them into line with international best practices. Therefore, particular attention must be paid to road safety. As part of infrastructure program, a significant amount of financial resources has been allocated to passenger rail agents of South Africa, PRASA, to acquire new rolling stock over the period of 10 years. The current rolling stock is more than 50 years old, and it is no longer viable to meet current and future socio-economic realities of achieving change in South Africa. The acquisition of the rolling stock will also include the upgrade of current rail infrastructure, including the stations in our main cities and towns. And the Muloto Road is notoriously known as the road of death, and government is planning to transform it into a road of hope. Therefore, Muloto Road, and therefore, Chairperson, the projects that come with this Muloto corridor development Honorable Minister, I think it's also important on your part as a member of the economic cluster of ministers that we begin to explore a possibility of looking at integrating this project and also think around the possibility of establishing the special economic zone on or along the corridor, if possible, so that we begin to, in a true sense, ignite development that will curtail the problem of people traveling between Gauteng and Tshwane and Mpumalanga. Chairperson, as the ANC, we support this budget vote. And because we do so, Chairperson, because tina kwa ANC asinawo umona, futhi asinayo inzondo, ingakho siyisupporta le budget vote. Siyabonga silala.
Siyabonga, Honorable Mtimnye. Let me now call on the Honorable Minister Maswanganyi.
Chairperson, can they reset time here?
Yeah, immediately you start, then it will be.
Start at minute number 5, not 54, 4:54.
Don't worry, Honorable Minister.
Okay. No, thanks very much, Chairperson. As the ANC government, we believe in radical socio-economic transformation to make sure that blacks are brought into the mainstream of aviation industry, rail industry, road construction, and ocean economy. Honorable Mtimuye has clarified the issue raised by Honorable Matebula of moving from RAF to RAPS as a scheme which is pro-poor. Honorable Manzini has gone at length to clarify the scholar transport policy. Honorable Kaula, that I've known for the past 20 years when we were in the youth leagues of Inkatha and the ANC. Good to see you. Not all traffic police are corrupt. There are many traffic officers who are working very hard on their road. So let's not all paint all of them with the same paint. I also thank you for saying that the road safety is a responsibility for all of us. Honorable Grant, you spoke very well. It's like you are in a wrong party. I don't know whether you'll have a job when you live here. You raised the issue of minibus operators, the matter that we are attending to, that as we have seen minibus operators closing the N1 and other routes in Gauteng, they are charged exorbitantly in terms of interest rates, almost 28%. It's a matter that we are looking at, probably approaching even the DFIs to assist them, because with the refinancing of one taxi, at the end, the money they repay will have bought extra 2 taxis. So through the new system of subsidization, we are looking at assisting them. The Moloto corridor, as emphasized by Honorable Masemula, there will be a train coming to Skokoni, Moloto, and Gauteng. We are reviewing the toll policy, in particular the funding model. Honorable Chairperson, the current funding model resulted in the challenges that we have in GFIP in the main. Not all our toll operations are problematic. SOEs, not all SOEs have got the same problems. I can give an example of Sanral. With the current review of its performance, it stands at 90%. However, its sister SOE, Prasa, stands at 34% and could not even spend 7 billion out of 13.8 billion allocated for CAPEX last year. So we must make sure that there will be consequent management for SOEs which are not doing what they're supposed to do in terms of their mandate. Honorable Faber, your input is welcome. However, if you think like your leader, Ellen Zille, who think along colonial pattern, will continue to have problems we have in the Western Cape, transport system for poor blacks, and transport system for the rich white, which is as a result of what Zille always praises, that colonialism should actually be glorified, and you can see it here. So, Honorable Grant, you have an albatross called Zille in this province. So we can't think like colonialists. We have got a transport system which is efficient, productive, and reliable. That's what we're looking at. So I'd like to thank everybody, members of the NCOP, the Select Committee, MECs who are present here, and officials for assisting us to put together this budget. Thanks very much, Honorable Chair. We benefited from this debate. Moving together, we can build a better South Africa. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I think it is in order to take this opportunity and thank the Honorable Minister for availing himself for this debate. Thank you very much. We really appreciate. Honorable members, I have an announcement to make. Those who are traveling with buses, the buses will be leaving at 6 o'clock. The honorable members, this concludes the debate and the business of the day. Honorable members are requested to remain standing until the procession has left the chamber. The House is adjourned.